definitely can make some tricks like that. But it looks like now Nidalee banned away from Cuz, that 100% win rate pick, and Vi denied from Raptor.
Nidalee, Trist, and Rakan? Anyone?
Nidalee, Trist, I think definitely. I think you can probably hold off the Rakan for now and maybe deal with that later, or make sure you have a good matchup into it. But, you know, pressure's kind of on Quandon Freaks, given that Aurora is still open. We'll see. BNK Fairx, you would think they would end up leaving it open and hoping the first pick. They banned the Dusante, yeah. So I imagine this is Aurora from Quandon Freaks as the ban.
Oh, reneged. Okay, so Aurora is going to be first picked. There it is. Okay. Oh, you can hear the crowd. They're like, oh, I don't know about that one. I heard a lot of those, the positive yells coming from the other side of the room, which is where the BNK fans are sitting. Yeah,
it's a flex, and Renekton and Rumble already banned. So 2 picks that, you know, maybe could give him a bit of trouble in the top lane, taken off the cards immediately. We've seen it do well into Gnar previously, and I feel like here, Trading Patterns, it's a struggle for a lot of champions to deal with that. It looks like we're going to get Leap on the Ezreal, which is, you know, it's still strong, but teams have definitely significantly dropped the priority on the pick since it's been nerfed.
Yeah.
They will pick that one up for Lipa and give a bit of safety. I also think into Aurora specifically, it's fantastic because Blinks get you out of her ultimate, and obviously Ezreal has one of those every few seconds in the late game.
I think the Maokai, certainly a good pickup here. I was wondering whether maybe they wanted to toy with Ezreal in the mid lane and then putting the Ashe towards the bottom side. We've seen the Ezreal-Ashe trade work out very well for teams, and now BNK has the option of just going that Freljordian 2-3 on the blue side here, or 1-2-3. There's a lot of Freljordian champions that they could pick up because Ashe is feeling like a pretty good option, especially in the hands of Henna.
Yeah, they could definitely take that one, but I think...
This is cooler.
Even closer, the Yone, I think expectation was possibly that Bulldog would want to go for the Corki. And if you have the Yone Sejuani, that's a really strong mid-jungle 2v2. You can see Bulldog was toying with the idea for LeBlanc, but it looks like he might end up committing to the Corki pick. The Triforce, Manamune, Spike, consistent across the mid and bot, but I think he's like, no. I want to have a better lane matchup. He's toying with the idea. We'll see what he settles on.
Yeah, it looks like Corki might be the more standard option here. Of course, Bulldog has played a lot of games of this champion so far, not with the same win rate as his Tristana, but of course that one's kind of permanently banned these days up against him. One really interesting factor about this BNK option here is that it kind of blocks Gnar. Aurora does have a decent matchup into it, but Yone has an even better matchup into it, and theoretically, this is flexible between both clear and closer in the Yone and the Aurora. And so they can kind of just pick their poison a little bit here. Keeping things up in the air is kind of cool. As the Kalista going to be taken away from Henna, one of his old favorites. Not something that he's really been going towards, but without Ashe being picked up, I think that this has to be an Ashe ban here and does allow Lipa to have an even better laning matchup.
Yeah, that's what we'll presume in this situation. And then you still have some decent picks that can follow up on the Engage the team has, like the Jhin, the MF, are options that are available. You could even take something like the Kai'Sa, the Zeri.
Yep.
You know, these are all possibilities. So we'll see what Quandon Freaks settle on as their ban. The expectation is the Ashe, but they actually go for the Zeri. So obviously something that's been a really big piece to what BNK Fairx have been bringing in with the dive-focused compositions. The Zeri's there for the cleanup. Not this time. BNK Fairx have been trimming away those top lane picks. Do they want to ban the Rakan here? Might be a decent option.
Yeah,
now
certainly
that you're
good.
This late in the draft, and Andal obviously has had really solid performances. Actually going for the Alistar.
Just feeling like maybe Dura can jump on something like a Leona and be okay into the Rakan, perhaps. We'll just have to see where their minds are going to be going. I think Dura has defaulted to Leona in a lot of situations. And that is the Gnar pickup in theory for Dudu. Not a great matchup into either of what's being presented right now with the theoretical flexes going on.
Yeah, I expect it's probably the Aurora top, and that is just going to be a rough time. We've seen the early laning phase, Perfect, really struggling in that matchup. Did have a solo kill opportunity, but ended up missing out on it. So the pick definitely hard to deal with. And now the bot lane for BNK Fairx.
Ooh, I don't know about... I never really know about Xayah Rakan.
Yeah. 28.6% win percentage.
Yeah, it's not very good.
I feel like it doesn't... Like, the Rakan fits well with what the composition wants to do, but I feel like the thing with the Xayah is, into the Ezreal in particular, you want to aggress on the Ezreal, and he just outranges you.
Yeah.
So I'm not the biggest fan of it here in the composition. I like the first three from BNK Fairx. I think the bot lane I'm not too sold on. And it exposes you to this.
Yeah.
The Karma coming through, Rakan, compared to other engaged supports like the Leona, things like the Nautilus, the Rel, you have significantly less pressure in the 2v2. So you can just take the Karma and try and bully them out of lane. This is such a heavy harassed lane, and honestly, I think this might be a bit of a fumble for BNK FairX because, you know, Yone could weather the storm mid and then threaten kills post-6, but pre-6, Corki's going to have priority. Top lane is a good matchup, of course, but bot lane now is a really rough one, so you just ended up in a situation where you're going to struggle to find prio on the bot side of the map, and Raptor, he's going to have some fires to put out.
He will, and he's also not on a champion that we've seen Raptor really shine on, right? Like the Vi, the Lee Sin, these are the picks that we're looking at Raptor being like, oh man, he can really carry a game. Sejuani doesn't carry a game in anyone's hands, except for maybe Peanut, just because he exists places, and that often wins games for Hammer Life Esports. That is not how BNK function. They're 5v5 all the time, make things happen, do the cool plays, and Sejuani doesn't really lend herself to that. However, in 5v5s, if BNK can get themselves to a good spot, putting down a circle people can't escape from and then having a Feather Storm does not sound like a bad combination of things to me just in general. But it's all just excuse making. We kind of hate Xayah Rakan. We think it's not that good, and it gets outranged pretty considerably by what's represented on the other side. I think Kwangdong Freak's looking pretty good coming out of this draft. It is very standard, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is a mantra that I think I have perhaps overused. And let's jump onto the rift. Game number 1. Man, Kwangdong fans always surprise me with the level of volume that they employ with their fan chants. I tell you what, every single time.
Yep, they definitely go hard. And I think ultimately we're seeing Jiro with the heal and not the ignite, which, you know, I talked already about the Rakan not having that much pressure in the matchup. One of the things with Karma is she's obviously the easier target to go on in a Karma Ezreal lane with Ezreal having the Arcane Shift. But if you Mantra W, the healing you get makes it so hard to actually kill the Karma, especially as Andal has heal on top of that. So I think without Ignite, the chances of, you know, you fighting a 2v2 kill or even forcing summoners significantly drops. And also makes it extremely dangerous. If you head bot lane, try and focus Andal, Andal gets the Mantra W, gets the heal, and Cuz turns up, you could just end up losing that 3v3 pretty hard. So BNK FairX have to be smart about this one.
Yeah, they certainly do. And I don't know what the smart option was when it comes to lane swaps between the two squads. Of course, the top lane matchup for BNK looking really good. The bottom lane matchup, maybe not so much. So there is a couple of schools of thought there. You can see Closer charging up that Q as he heads towards the lane. Seeing this one work out for the Yone, but not early on, as you already mentioned. So it looks like 2 pushing lanes for Kwangdong Freaks out of the gate, and just the 1 over to BNK, depending on what can happen. And it's interesting because we talk about, oh, that's a miss on the first Mantra Q there from Andal. Not great.
Yeah, good dodge from Jiro. You know, it's the sort of ability where it's so easy to hit, it's so large, but also it's so telegraphed, right? She literally shouts at you when she's about to fire it. And missing the first one of the game, I mean, it's not just the fact that you miss the damage from it, but the cooldown refund you also don't get if you don't connect with the ability. You can see Rakan, very successful in the patch. He's not the part of the duo we have an issue with.
No. Rakan is just a pretty standard engaged support these days. Surprised that the win rate is this good at the moment. I feel like we have seen some Rakan performances go up and down, but apparently it is just up.
I think one of the things is he can definitely have a rough time in lane. This is what we're seeing right now, is you're going to be pressured in. But since they changed his Q to have so much healing, he can weather the storm a bit, and his team fighting is just hard to match. And especially a composition like this with other people to dive in, like the Yone, you can follow up so well. Now, this is the pain point.
Yeah, that is going to be a really interesting interaction there, as the Twisted Advance still allows Cuz to get hit by the Arctic Assault. As Raptor is just going to go for a trade, will be giving up his red buff here, understanding that the bottom lane is under fire.
Yep, this is the problem. You know, you have those 2 heavy pushing lanes, and it means Cuz kind of has free reign to do what he wants. Now Raptor does have Smite, but I think if you dash over there and try to steal, you could end up in a dangerous spot. So we'll just accept it, knows the limitations of what they've drafted. You can see top lane though, Dudu not having fun in this match.
Yeah. And the young man hands, often pretty good at making sure that these matchups work out, and learning new champions just comes a little bit easier to those younger folks. Clear certainly an example of that. And with the fact that he's been playing so well, him getting the priority pick, I think would feel really good for B&K fans, just because this guy's confidence is at an all-time high.
For good reason. You know, his Kennen's been fantastic, and I feel like, you know, sometimes we've seen Kennen recently struggle to find engages. We've seen Zeus and Keen have some moments where they just weren't able to pull it off. But I feel like the Aurora, the invisibility on the W, just gives her so much ability to get onto the enemy backline without being detected. Bulldog,
yeah,
rough end of a trade, does pop a biscuit to get some mana back. But you can kind of see, you know, after that level 3 point, the Yone having so much more pressure in the matchup.
Yeah, Bulldog going to have to go for that first teleport. I think that will give Closer a little bit more power in being able to go back whenever he would like. Mystic shots landing, Q's landing, and we knew this was going to be just a really hard time for the B&K bottom lane. But something that I was going to say before we did get interrupted by some action here in the bottom lane is that Henna has always been a Xayah player. Ever since he was on Bro, they picked Xayah in places that made us very upset. Even back then, it was a different iteration of Xayah. It was largely with the lethality version that was coming on through, but Henna has just always loved this champion. Him and Delight playing the Xayah Rakan, of course. I think a lot of people can remember that Delight was the Rakan guy. Duro having some good performances on it as well. So you can understand why they're going to go back to picks like this.
Yeah, definitely a lot of comfort on it, but we'll see how well ends up faring. So far, they've lost 1 plate and a bit of a CS deficit, not too much of a surprise. And they're just trying to stop the recalls. And really, you know, they obviously have a lot of pressure with Lipa and Andal. We'll see what the buy ends up being here. If Lipa has enough to get more than just a tier sheet, that's a big one. This is where I honestly feel like it starts to hit more, because early levels, you know, level 3, you've only got 1 point in your queue, you don't have like an item to back it. But now, level 4, level 5, you're getting more points in your Mystic Shot, you've got the Sheen to back it up. If you take some Mystic Shots and a couple of the Qs from Karma as well, you're really going to feel bad.
Well, speaking of feeling bad, Duro is going to make his way over to look to make Bulldog's life a little bit worse. Does not necessarily work out. You've got Andal coming on up as well, just to add some support. Raptor over here. Early skirmish, perhaps, as Cuz is moving in. Take the Rakan for a walk seems to be an idea, as the grubs are going to be started by Raptor. Possible trade here, but full information going over to B&K. That means that they should be able to secure this one without too much to worry about.
I'm going to see top lane, pretty big advantage for Clay so far, as is the expectation. This is how it kind of went between Keen and Perfect. And it is, as you said, those traded neutrals. Ocean Dragon being first, actually a pretty big one. Early Ocean, I'd say one of the most valuable dragons, just that sustain when you're still in the laning phase.
Yeah.
And also the soul on the weaker end, and you know you've got a dragon towards that soul, and it's not going to be Ocean. It's always a nice feeling. Hex Tech, the second one though, obviously a lack of Hex Tech soul. Not something you feel as good about if you're stacking up those early dragons.
Yep, Chemtech available, but the Swift Rift is still up as well, as is the Drift Rift as a possibility here, as Raptor is pretty deep in. And let's see who's going to be able to get the smite. It's going to be Cuz. Locks that one down, as now Closer making his way in. Ulti going to come out, but they get the flash out of Cuz first. Decent trade there, but makes the laning a little bit weaker here for Closer in the meantime.
Yep, it's a good flash from Cuz though. You wait a little bit longer, it could be very dangerous. Avoids the follow-up CC. And this is kind of the power of that Sejuani Yone that you have to respect. You can see here the poke really starting to hurt now. Another plate going down. And it's also one of these situations where the Rakan, with how much healing there is in his Q, it kind of feels a bit like a Soraka lane, where if you just respect the Q and you dodge it, the sustain available to them is so much lower. So as long as he's not hitting those feathers consistently, he's not going to really have any option to sustain back up.
Yeah.
And you can see the health is just getting lower and lower.
Yeah, they've cleared out this wave, probably looking for a little bit of a back timing here. Andal wanting to stop that one. The back has been channeled. I think Duro should be able to get on in, and he is interrupted, but Henna isn't.
Yeah, just didn't get into it in time. There's like, you know, you have to get into the...
Oh yeah, they need to do the little dance thing.
Channel it a little, just like a little bit of channel before you're connected, so didn't get there in time. He has to stay around, which, to be honest, isn't the biggest issue, as he's able to just pick up some solo XP. Does mean that Andal can now make some moves on the map, and Duro will be a little bit behind.
A little bit like that. We can see, as far as the gold is concerned, 200 in it. No first bloods just yet. Henna going to make his way back. And there is a 15 CS lead in the top lane. First item going to be the Leandries this time for Clear. We've seen Malignance in mid lane every single time, and it has been Leandries in the top lane more often than not. We'll see whether they do stick to a similar build option, which is heading for Malignance item number 2, and then things like Cosmic Drive and the Rabbiton's Death Cap and stuff like that immediately afterwards. But maybe Clear has a different idea as to what he wants to build.
Yeah, we'll see how that one ends up panning out. I think regardless of what items the champion builds, does a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I think the thing as well is, like, you know, a lot of comparisons have been drawn to Nico in terms of the team fight. Oh, actually, wait a second. We'll see. Andal might be in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, Glacial Prison goes down. There's the grand entrance, and Andal's going to have to flash the Inspire for the extra movement speed as Leaper comes on over. But he is a long way away from safety. Duro and Raptor don't have a lot of damage, though, and that is going to be a Mantrid Inspire to come in. Closer ulting just to close the gap, and they are not done here. That's First Blood, and it's even worse. The kill goes to Closer.
Closer making sure he gets in with a kill. You can see the damage wasn't quite there between Duro and Raptor. Duro with no mana as well ends up not being able to do more. We do see Dudu actually having a pretty good time here against Clear.
Yeah, turning around the matchup.
This is kind of the point we saw Perfect nearly get a solo kill onto Keen.
Yeah.
It backfires, so maybe a bit of a power point where Gnar comes back into the matchup before Clear has that first time. You can see him recalling now.
Ooh, yeah, Clear is actually going to go back up to the lane here as the drill comes down and another wave is going to crash. Raptor moving up, and that's why they feel a little bit safer in this instance, because holding on to that Gromp for the moment. They do have full information here as the snapback on the Q kind of working out as Bulldog. In position, Ward comes over as Duro looking for a bit of an entrance here as Cuz going down relatively low. Clear puts them in a circle, the quickness, it comes down. Clear's gonna have to exit, but he bounces away from the fight. Bulldog in trouble, Permafrost comes in, but they can't close the gap. The flash over and Clear is gonna get the kill, but it's traded immediately back. Dudu is a monster, the turret not enough to kill him, and now Closer, can you actually even this one out? That's the question. As Duro, I don't think he's going to quite be able to get him here. There it is, the Battle Dance going to help out. The knockups everywhere, and Andal is once again in the wrong place.
Yeah, Closer, I think if he'd been able to get to that fight sooner, it would have made so much difference, but he's a late arrival, and you can see the damage just isn't quite there. Members of Quantum Freaks ends up getting low, but between a Gnar, between a Corki, the sustained damage is so much more present. For Quantum Freaks, you can see Clear uses his full combo, gets the Corki low but doesn't kill, and then Andal reaches the fight first. The Maokai ult catches Closer, and the True Shot Barrage coming in really helps put things in Quantum Freaks' favor. Andal, unfortunately, does get left behind, but still Quantum Freaks getting what they wanted from that play.
Yeah, I think BNK not going to be too upset about it either, just because Clear was denied a back before that one. Grub's going down here as Glacial Prison goes in once again. Duro, that is a great knock-up. The pullback from the ulti is in, but Closer just snaps his way out of it. There's going to be 4 Grubs picked up, not wanting to mess with any more. They'll allow Quantum Freaks to have 2, but hitting that 4 mark certainly going to feel good.
Yeah, you can feel the damage still lacking a bit there. You know, they focus on a Cuz, but already completed that locket. It's actually very hard to burst through him, and Leaper is able to Arcane Shift away from the ultimate Closer. So again, it feels like BK FearX, they're trying to find these engage windows, but pretty good at reading when they haven't found the angle. They do back off from the Grubs and give another one over to Quantum Freaks. But ultimately, Quantum Freaks, I think, being very cautious around some of these threats on BNK FearX, and it's really favoring them.
Yeah, I think as well, Quantum Freaks kind of very aware of the fact that these Trinity Forces they're trying to build 3 of haven't come in just yet. Big spike when they can get to these 1-2 items that they're looking for, and not quite there just yet. They do have control of this Drake, though. They should be able to take that one down. There's one lone Hex Tech before we get towards the Soul. Should be able to get them pretty close. And also continue the monopoly that they have on these dragons.
And I think, you know, Infernal or Mountain would both be pretty fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's Chemtech.
Yeah,
you were focusing on the Infernal and the Mountain, and you just forgot to think about the fact that it can be a Chemtech.
Yeah, well, this is honestly great news for BNK FearX. A lot of the pressure, the threat of a looming Soul kind of extinguished with that. You can really afford to give up dragons in this situation.
Yep. Ooh, a cheeky plate before they do fall down.
Mega.
Grand entrance is optimistic at best. Dudu is just going to get himself out of there. Clear. Relocating towards this bottom side. As Bulldog down here has been farming pretty well. up against Closer, you can see same thing can be said for Clear, who was thinking about just comboing Bulldog to death, I think.
Yeah, you know, new champion. Obviously, you got to learn the damage limits. That's the main thing.
Yep.
And I think Clear calculating, like, can I just one-shot him? Probably not far off, but you have to be careful about that one. If you do end up burning your full cooldown and Bulldog is able to turn it around, he will do a lot of damage.
He does have his Cull about to cash in as well. Only 6 minions, 1 wave away.
Big payoff. Double Triforce just came in for his teammates, and I think with that cold cash in, he probably has it himself. So some decent spikes, but I think the 2-item spike really what Quantum Freaks wants to be playing around. We do see Closer picking up the Blade of the Rune King. It felt like, you know, he was landing the CC in the last couple of fights, but the damage wasn't quite there yet. But this is a big spike for the Yone.
It really is. Leaper just protecting his control ward as True Shot Barrage doing a lot of work. Crowd going nuts at the same time as Raptor already got halfway through this Rift Herald. It feels like a bit of a leash though, as now Dudu goes down so low. Closer still with his ultimate in hand, but that is just going to be Rift Herald secured by Quandong Freaks. And Dudu just traded his health bar and flash for it.
Yeah, and you see immediately Dudu's learn about the one-item spike for the Yone got shredded in that extended trade there.
Oh, Bulldog is inside the circle now. The pullback available for Clear, and the Speckle delivery. Closer gets another one, and Quandong Freaks, they notice it. It's a sacrifice from Duro, but he doesn't even need to go down. That's the pullback, though. And there goes the Sejuani. Andal looking for a little more as he gets a bit of damage onto Henna. So a 1-for-1 across the map.
Yeah, BNK Fearx, I feel like their jungle bot duo just hanging around mid way too long after they lost the Herald. There was no reason to do so. And now losing mid tier 1 for it, a pretty big hit. You'll see the Yone trade back in the bot side, but I don't think this is a weird trade. Mid tier 1 so influential on the map, and also,
yeah.
Oh, he gets the angle.
Oh, very clean drift work there from Cuz. Going to be able to help lock down the outer turret in top lane as well. So all of that, it was an even trade of kills, but they grabbed the Herald, they grabbed 2 turrets, and they look to open up this map. Quandong Freaks now moving ahead 2,000 gold.
Yeah, we'll see the replay of this. I think what was pretty fantastic was the fact that Closer stacked up the Q, the 3rd stack of it, so he had the knockup immediately when he came in. I mean, I don't think it was needed.
Yeah.
And the setup was there. But here, BNK Fearx are hanging around for so long, and it's like for what? You know, the Herald's already gone. We see Raptor tries to dash once the W's come in, but the timing's wrong. Jiro tries to create some space, but the Maokai's still so healthy, and they're able just to chase down Raptor. You can see Henna didn't really do anything in that fight, wasn't really away from him to approach, so bit of a club there from BNK Fearx. It's punished well by Quandong Freaks.
I think BNK might have just thought that Henna was going to stick around, but instead he kind of saw the red dots and was like, I must go. And so then Duro and Raptor kind of had no damage and no follow-up. And weren't able to actually do anything. Don't really blame Henna. He needs to get towards 2 items as quickly as possible. Only an Essence Reaver in his pocket now.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like if you're making a play on another side of the map, you can be happy that that play is winning. You don't need to do something there. Now looking towards Dudu, he is Mega. Not sure anything's going to happen. And I think for BNK Fearx, we obviously know the impact an Aurora hat can have, but Closer 3-0 already on this Yasuo is potentially going to be a pretty big threat.
Well, Clear is finding another option here as Bulldog not going to be able to get out of this wall, and the bounce away does put Clear away from danger, but also away from his target. Still doesn't stop him from grabbing the kill.
Bulldog, I actually think makes the correct decision not to flash there, because there was a Sejuani ult ready for him if he did.
Yep.
You flash and then get Sejuani ulted, you're just going to die anyway. Saves the summoner for this next fight in 30 seconds if we're looking towards that dragon, if it is going to be a point of contention. But obviously he does get picked and gives that kill over to Clear, who's getting stronger and stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, Clear also able to clear out the wave beforehand. Andal comes down, checks in to see whether Raptor is possibly in the area. So they had an inkling that this was happening. Unfortunately, Bulldog just wasn't allowed to walk up there, and he did anyway.
Yeah, but again, I think we see so many situations in Pro where, you know, players will be certainly dead and they burn summoners anyway for no real benefit. So I like the decision just to hold on to it. Now, setting up for this dragon, remember Clear didn't have Malignant, so he's a long way away from ult, and they're going top instead. Yeah, they just want to kill Bulldog again. The ulti's flash this time around as Closer gets himself out from underneath this inner turret. Raptor is still here, behind the dragon, just standing around. There is a mega blast cone that is going to get him to safety, thanks to Andal's auto attack. An inner turret in trade for Soul Point for Chemtech Soul.
probably not too bad. His closer is almost just dead to a true shot barrage that flew on through. That could actually get him local gold for this inner turret, which is kind of dope, I guess. And Drake is going to be traded for that inner turret like we were talking about.
Yeah, I think you can see the difference when it is a Chemtech Soul, how much more willing teams are to sacrifice that. But, you know, Bulldog saved his flash, ends up using it in that top play, and does survive. It could have been a much more punishing play if he didn't have that one available. The gold, however, we see Clear and Closer, both of them finishing the second item. Shield Bow for the Yone, and that Malignant for the Aurora. Much needed item spikes because you can tell the Bulldog and Leap are approaching theirs. And this is where the game gets a little bit delicate. Baron is going to be on the map in a minute. Bulldog and Leap are going to be repping their new shiny items. And I think the fights are going to feel a lot more punishing if they go either way.
Yep, I think Closer the one that has been the main benefactor of this game so far. You can see it in his scoreline, of course, but almost, 900 gold the lead for him, just individually. But this is Closer at the same time. Like, this is the guy that makes half the plays for this team in these team fights. They all like to get behind him. He's almost like a veteran now, which is kind of crazy for me to think about, because we remember when he was this young man trying to fill the shoes of Faker on T1 many years ago. And he has flourished into his own man, you know, his own carry here for BNK.
And I feel like that's kind of the vibe of BNK Fearex, when sometimes we see teams trying to imitate the top squads like Gen G, and they've really lent into their own style. And I think, you know, given how Closers like to play, the champions he's been good on, seeing him on things like Yone and the team working in unison on these engages is just fantastic to see.
Yeah, well, now BNK looking for a little bit of a reset here as the gold has reached parity. What is it with BNK and being completely even with teams throughout the majority of most games? This is exactly the same as what happened in their matchup against DK, and I ain't complaining. It's real fun, but it is somewhat heart-wrenching. You know, like it's nerve-wracking.
It's volatile, and it makes it exciting, but it's also kind of how we've sometimes seen this team play. They definitely like to push the limits. They definitely like to challenge. But it means that, you know, when it comes down to these big fights in the late game, they're often trading power in the earlier stages, often looking for picks, looking for angles, and sometimes do pay for it in return. But I feel like all the pressure's on now. I think Bulldog probably going to go for the reset now, get that mana immune. I've just seen the Vori Flicker Blades come in for Henna, but not. Still, I feel like Desire needs more items to be really relevant here. Raptor hovering around mid, maybe looking for something.
Yeah, Cuz is going to be Winteringly Wrathed, or at least attempted to be Winteringly Wrathed. Doesn't quite happen. That is going to be that 2-atom spike completed for Bulldog, who is not a massively accelerated Corki or anything like that. Still will be very dangerous with these items now completed. Closer unbinds the soul, says hi to Cuz. And there's still 2 minutes on this dragon. We do not need to be fighting in the bottom side river.
Something I want to note is that Lipa doesn't have cleanse into Sejuani, into Rakan, so even though obviously Ezreal very safe, if something does connect,
he has to be tied to Andal because he does have the Mikhails completed. Cuz could be in trouble, has to flash to get himself out of the way. Clear can always bounce on over as Lipa. Gonna have an E thrown at him, avoids a lot of the skill shots here as Clear as he makes his way out.
And I believe Andal used the Mikhails there on Cuz. Yeah, it's on cooldown. Locket also burnt as well. Dragon isn't up for another minute 40, so they don't have to fight on the back of this, but definitely be cautious about stepping up with those unavailable.
Yep, you can see now as well, Henna still 30 CS behind or something like that, but we know that Xayah will be able to do a lot of work come later in the game. And we know that the Wombo combos, if he's ever actually able to participate and move forward with the Featherstorm, could be really dangerous. As Dudu finds a boomerang towards Closer. Closer looks like he barely even notices, and he's going to take away the enemy Grom.
He's just that. We are seeing the Crit Cloak picked up by Closer. Often we've seen like Jack Show come out here third and going a little bit before the damage. Looks like he might just be wanting to chase Infinity Edge here and now, and just maximize the burst potential and also just DPS in general. Yeah, I mean, Shield Bolt already gives you a lot of bulkiness, and Closer, level 15 already, highest in the game. Those base stats definitely a lot of value there.
He's a monster.
He is very hard to deal with right now.
He's sitting in side lanes permanently. You're going to see he goes back, and that is a BF sword, all but confirming what you were thinking about there with the Infinity Edge coming in. Will make a 3-atom spike that is a lot of damage. You know, you land an ulti, and I think whoever gets caught in that is pretty much dead, especially if Clear can make them go inside a circle and send them between worlds, as it were, with this Aurora. This fight going to be a pretty important one, as Duro takes a little bit of poke damage. The Ezreal certainly online right now. Still looking for that Spear of Sojourn, as Duro didn't want to take any risks. as they look to scry out a lot of the vision. Closer moving in. If he can find a flank angle, if he can find any angle at all, it could be really scary. But Clear looking for that as well. Teleport to come in from Dudu. This might be an honest 5v5 between these teams. Henna is fighting just in that front line. Takes a fair bit of damage, is now Clear looking for Bulldog. Man, half health just from a combo. Presses QE and he almost dies. Raptor tanking this one up. Quantum Freak not actually fully committing yet, but that is a Glacial Prison to come in. The quickness and Grand Entrance combo is massive as Clear gets on in there, looks for Andil, and just bounces his way out, and he's straight up dead. It is going to be the soul picked up for Kwandong as well. Cuz quick on that Smite Finger, and that works out beautifully. Dudu, the monster, he finds the Wallop under two, and Kwandong Freaks have been saving up their power for this moment. They wipe BNK off the rift.
KDF get everything they want and more. The Soul's secured, but they get a huge teamfight win. Ping's coming out onto the Baron. We'll see if they move over there. They get every single member taken out. We saw Clear go for the engaged flank. Doesn't really pay off, but the follow-up from Kwandong Freaks immediate to punish BNK Fearx. We'll see, you know, Leaper doing a pretty good job of aggressively positioning, getting some poke down, but the engage ends up backfiring massively. Raptor leads it, gets the stun. Juro comes in, but we see Leaper gets Mikhail's and flashes out. Andal also doesn't go down, and Clear uses his cooldown, so the engage just fails. They lose the dragon as well, but then they have no tools left, and BNK Fearx just have to run away, but Dudu finds this great blast cone angle, gets the flash wall up, and secures 3 more kills than they might have gotten otherwise.
Yeah, the chase down, just incredible, but I want to highlight Dudu there. Not only does he get into the Dragon Pit to deny Clear being able to bounce over and meet the rest of his team to start the engage, forces him all the way around, but while he does that, he also bounces in to really force Clear's hand and stop this Aurora from being able to do anything at all. It was gorgeously played from the Kwandong Freaks top laner. And man, this, like, BNK is one of our better team fighting teams in the LCK, and Kwandong Freaks just outthought them at every turn.
Yeah, and I'm going to say, you know, not to specifically hone in on one thing, but Henna on the Xayah not really able to follow up on a lot of these engages. Something like Azeri or Kai'Sa could help a lot more.
Glacial Prison, Andal I think he's dead, guys. Yeah, Raptor is going to be able to pick that one up. Baron was not taken.
Yeah, they didn't feel like they had a time after they were so, they led so heavily towards the bot side. They didn't have time to get it down. After moving over, the rest of BNK would probably be spawning. So, good pick from BNK Fearx. And it is a Chemtech Soul. Got to remind you, yes, there's a 4K gold deficit. Yes, Quantum Freak's definitely in control, but it's not unwinnable for BNK Fearx. This Soul doesn't grant nearly as much power as some of the other ones. So, hope is still alive, but definitely BNK Fearx on the back foot. And their engages need to be super crisp from here on out.
Yeah, we'll see what they're going to be able to do here. 4,000 gold is the deficit. And I don't know how many more excuses I can make for this Xayah pickup, but as you were saying before, certainly leaving us a little bit wanting here as Bulldog turns up towards that bottom side, and he is just firing his way forward, feeling a whole lot more confidence here. 3 items now done, and Closer not with that Infinity Edge yet completed, and I think now as this game sort of turns, a Jack Shows would have felt a little bit better.
Yeah, still a while away from finishing the Infinity Edge. I mean, I don't know how much gold he has in pocket, maybe isn't too far, but definitely when you're behind, like if you're ahead and you have the Infinity Edge, feels great, you're just one-shotting people, but if you're behind, you're vulnerable to that one-shot potential, and the items coming through from Quantum Freaks are making them very threatening. 3 items for Bulldog and Leaper, just going to be chunking.
Yeah, that is that Infinity Edge now done, but I think we need something more to come through from Henna, and I think we're going to have to wait until an Infinity Edge comes in before he's going to be able to do anything at all. You can see here, Henna with half the damage of Leaper, and that's being generous. Leaper is really above and beyond what is being capable for BNK. And
you look at the items now, there's a Last Whisper in inventory, so likely finishing LGR or Mortal Reminder. There's a Bounce Scepter, so it was like, oh, you know, I'm getting poked out, I need Sustain. That's going to delay your spikes, and also if you're going to build Infinity Edge next after the LDR.
No, he's got to build a QSS next. So he's got only bits of items.
Yeah, it just feels like he's in such a rough spot in terms of he needs so many items to really feel complete and is far away with them. But also just with how the comp wants to play, you know, with something like a Kai'Sa or a Zeri, when that engage comes in, you're there. You know, it's so easy to follow up on it, whereas the Xayah, not quite as easy to pull off.
Yeah. We can see here as well.
5 until the Elder, so you see Quantum Freak set up around the Baron, sorry, but pressure's going to really start to ramp up in this next minute.
Yep. And I think maybe B&K are kind of okay with the Drake being accelerated here as well. Maybe they can go for a Hail Mary, grab themselves an Elder, and then that's their passageway to victory before Kwangdong Freaks suffocate them out of too much more of their jungle and the extra gold. See, that gold lead is slowly but surely extending. Has moved up by about 1,000 since we mentioned it last time around, as Duro not feeling great about face-checking a lot of this stuff. True Shot Barrage does go wide, though. That's better news. Cuz going to start this one up, though, and clear. He's on the top side dealing with this minion wave, and things are so incredibly dark.
I remember, this is not a Warmog's Rakan, so Duro is very squishy. He doesn't have the sustain. He's still low HP now. You see Cuz and Bulldog doing this. Leaper and Hand will move over, but it's going so fast. I'm not sure they'll even get there in time.
Yeah, where's the Scryers? Where's the option here as Nature's Grasp is going to be walked away from? Raptor looking for an option. He finds a Glacial Prison, and Clear gets into that back line. He bounces over. They take down Leaper, but they trade their Aurora for it. Can Closer actually find this team fight? Because Dudu says absolutely not. Clear's still trying to fight this, but his health bar's going down low, and Henna hasn't been touched. He's now going to find a couple of autos, but he just disintegrates. Please do something, Zaya!
Even with a huge ult from Clear, it's not enough to find the teamfight win. The goal difference hitting them, but also, as you said, Zaya not able to make it work. And now a 7,000 gold lead, Baron in pocket, Elder spawning in 10. The Nexus may not be dead right now, but it might as well be. Kwangdong Freaks have everything they need to win this game.
Yep, I think they signed the docket. You know, the deed has gone over, and Kwangdong Freaks now kind of own both sides of the map. The Baron stolen away beautifully. Cuz now getting to work on this Elder, and Dudu. Oh, this guy's Gnar has been just phenomenal. He's 2 versus 1 underneath the turret, though. Does he care? The answer's no! He'll just flash on top of him! Duro, a passenger, witnessing the demise of Clear.
And you know, we saw this matchup played, the Aurora versus the Gnar, and we had concerns in the draft.
Yeah.
Came out. Dudu didn't have any. He is displaying that he's completely fine with the matchup. This is kind of something that was actually spoken about in that series. You know, KT said they thought that they could handle the Aurora with the Gnar. Dudu showing exactly how you can do so.
Yeah, Dudu is just having a day out today. This guy's Gnar has looked incredible. They've got Exodia completed as well. They've got the Soul, the Elder, the Baron. Baron still 1 minute and 16, ticking down 7,000 gold Red Bull Baron power play. My goodness, I think he can just parade towards the Nexus now and take this one down, but they are looking to play it a little bit by the book as they'll clear out the jungle on their way over towards this inner turret that Dudu is preparing for them. Kwangdong Freaks, you can imagine, probably saved up a lot of what they had prepared for this match right here. It is so important to go back to what we were talking about before. This is the Saturday Showdown, but not just that. This is for playoffs. B&K, their road becomes so much harder if they lose this series, but even losing a game in the series means a lot.
Yeah, it can make such a difference when Kwangdong Freaks has the edge in game score, and they're trying to clear the wave, but their wave play isn't the best. Henna taking a ton of poke, walking up.
Yeah.
It's a rocket, fortunately, but it's getting so dangerous.
Yep, that one's going to land. Glacial Prison does come on through there as Leaper. He goes golden. He bought himself an arm guard. Still he's going to die. They've taken down the Corki as well. Dudu is a legitimate threat, though. He has the power of the dragon behind him. The wallop comes in. That's a very dead Aurora. And despite the fact that 2 of the carries were just eliminated, I think that Kwangdong Freaks are still just going to win this game unless Closer can do something absolutely miraculous. The superpowered minions coming in, Closer diving forward once more. But Raptor, I mean, there's a dragon that's going to get real angry with him very, very soon as Dudu goes down to hysterics. And the GA is procced here from Closer. He's still trying to work it out, still trying to figure it out, but the Dragon's Wrath will find him. And Raptor's going to go down, and of course, it's all about Dudu all the time. He doesn't have any minions, but he doesn't care. He goes Mega, and he'll destroy this Nexus.
Even with the Ezreal and Corki going down, Kwangdong Freaks still have that carry. The Gnar taking over the game against the broken Aurora pick. Dudu does not care, and that is honestly
Look at him.
The easiest POG. 12 out of 12.
I mean, Riot Media could probably figure this one out. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is extraordinarily obvious. It was like when he picked his Aatrox and just said, oh no, I win these, and killed everyone by himself. Like, that fight. Yeah, they lost the Corki, they lost the Ezreal, and he says, and what?
Yep.
I just kill you all.
Yep, confidence with the Dragon Soul being there, and Kwangdong Freaks, it really feels like they had a good understanding of what they needed to do for the draft to work. mitigating the engages from BNK FearX. So this is kind of a concern. You know, BNK FearX's style has worked so well for them, but they have that style.
Yeah.
They are diving into, you know, that's going to be the game plan. And if you can prepare, you know, picks like the Maokai, great at counter dive, the Ezreal, great at disengaging and peeling, you can see it worked pretty well for them. And now BNK FearX losing this game and losing it in such a manner, because, you know, if they win the series 2-1, it's huge for them. But if they lose it 2-0, that might just be them out of playoffs. It might really ruin their chances of making it. You can see Dudu, a lot of that damage picked up in the end. But yeah, I mean, the Xayah did 19.3k. We didn't really see it. We didn't really feel it.
I didn't notice it. I don't think it was all that consequential. I think that that is the first port of call in this draft. No more Xayah. And this applies to absolutely everyone around the world, League of Legends in general, competitively. Don't pick this champion. It's not that good. We are going to go to a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break it down. Then we'll have game number 2. See you there.
어차피 내가
야 자야공 자야공
야 연애 이거 그거야
다행이야 자야공 그냥 뺄 생각 때
자고 있다 자고 있어
천천히 볼게 봐봐 천천히 봐봐 나 딜러
내가 볼게
낙한 10초 야안 죽는다 해봐
내가 볼게 기다려봐
야 나를 지켜줘
내가
야 요네 해봐 쉴드 줘봐 라칸 태어났어 쉴드 줘봐
밀면 돼
이오지 뺏기겠네
Pops here, as once again, I believe Nidalee Tristana are still going to be banned.
Yeah, I think like the first 3 picks from BNK FearX, pretty fine. Maybe they switch the Cassante for the Ezreal.
Yeah.
That could be something they do. They actually ban the Aurora themselves. I still think the pick was good. I don't think Aurora was the issue. But playing it into Ezreal obviously was. And now we're going to see what they end up taking here with the Aurora down. They want the Maokai, which...
I like this a lot, actually. I think that the Maokai has been really, really powerful for a lot of teams. We saw Pyoshik play 3 games of it in a row into Gen G. It's now on a 3-game winning streak based on that, I'm pretty sure, unless it was played by Sylvie in the series afterwards, but I don't believe so. I remember a certain POG on a Viego. It's just really, really strong at controlling games, and for what BNK wants to do, starting fights, very good. You press R.
Yeah,
fight started.
It works so well because whether you're playing to engage, like BNK like to, or like last game, playing that more peel disengage, it works in both compositions. And since people have started rushing Locket on the pick, it feels like it gets so durable so quickly and offers so much in those 5v5s. Now, we will get the Dusante coming through. The Zyra from Cuz as well. Definitely another pick that's good at like peeling away.
Yeah.
So if BNK FearX do dive into the Zyra, they have to deal with all those plants. Cuz also good at peeling away targets, so definitely feels like they can lean into that sort of composition again. Claire, though, looking towards that Gnar, which you obviously saw Dudu have a fantastic game on. First and foremost, they're going to lock in the Corki for closer.
Yep, I think Corki Gnar would make a fair bit of sense here, but still taking some time. I think probably pondering whether it wants to be a Gnar or a Cannon. But choose a Yordle, and it'll probably be pretty good. Of course, a lot of people probably not that psyched about Kennen in general at the moment. But Clear has been very good at the champion. Bulldog looking to do the same as what Closer did in the last game, unless it's his brother. Having a look at a potential lock-in of the Yasuo, but...
I've seen the Win brothers have a lot of success in the Corki. You could have also picked like an 80 carry pick, like a Zeri. Could be flexed between mid and 80 carry. Could have been quite threatening. But they commit to the Yone, so both teams picking that top side of the map. Now the ban's coming through in the second rotation. BNK FairX have the advantage of being able to pick their bot lane at the same time, but Quantum Freaks have the advantage of counter pick, so it makes sense that Senna is an immediate ban from Quantum Freaks, because being able to slam like Senna on at the same time, very powerful.
Yep. Ashe Ezreal, I think, really standing out for me as to what BNK wants to be banning away. I think that Henna needs something with some sort of follow-up, although in this composition, it's probably fine to pick something like a Misfortune, I guess, just because they are a little bit more stationary. It's a little bit less, we're going to rocket forward with that Yone and make things happen. It's more about, can we peel for the enemy Yone this time around, as Kalista going to be taken off the board.
Yeah, interesting we haven't seen the Zeri get a look in. Maybe Quantum Freaks want to deny that themselves, but, you know, it's a pick that obviously Henna's had a ton of success on, but Lipa also pretty solid on it, so Ezreal gets banned. If you pay, one thing is if you take the Zeri, they might just respond with Kai'Sa, and we've seen that matchup be pretty good. BNK FairX already got a pretty good damage profile for the Kai'Sa to slip into as well.
Yeah, true.
Could be, you know, MF and Jhin are the more sort of longer range follow-up champions, and then you have Kai'Sa and Zeri more the, my team is engaging, I'm with them.
Yeah.
That we definitely know BNK FairX like to play.
I'm expecting Henna to go something like a Jhin. I think a Jhin or a Varus would be pretty cool.
I like the MF.
I don't think people play Varus anymore. Misfortune definitely feels fun.
Varus kind of dead. I like the MF specifically because, you know, I think if Henna wanted to play like the Zeri, and it's going to have a rough lane, especially when he gets support counter pick.
Yeah.
Also, MF, Zyra, some big circles. Well, not really a circle, a cone from MF, but, you know, the impact's there. Still will get the Zeri coming in.
Danger.
Oh, this is very precarious. Team fighting power is definitely there if you have the Zeri Rakan, no doubt about it. But lane could be risky, and it makes me start to wonder, will we see a lane swap come out from BNK FairX if they...
I think they almost have to in this instance. Na and Cassante not going to be too happy about that, but that is an insta-lock on the Nautilus. They see Zeri, they see, I want to lock down the Zeri, and that is going to be successfully found.
Yeah, we haven't seen Nautilus have too much success recently. I feel like, you know, a lot of times he's just getting blown up in team fights and doesn't have the ability of a Rakan to sort of disengage from the situations. So not as much a common pick we've seen, but definitely makes sense as a response to the Zeri. I kind of like the vibe of BNK FairX's composition more in this situation. You know, I am a bit concerned about how bot lane's going to go, but again, if they swap to mitigate it, that's fine. The team fighting power is there for them. And I think Quantum Freaks, you know, they have the lockdown for Zeri, but they have like a Yone who wants to go in, Zyra who's more about sort of disengaging. It feels like their comp isn't as well-rounded as in Game 1.
No, I would agree. And basically what BNK have done is picked what Quantum Freaks had in Game 1 and then added Zeri Rakan to the situation instead of Ezreal Karma. Does mean that losing lane on the bottom side in comparison to what was a winning lane for Quantum Freaks last time. And so that could be a little bit of a difference maker here. Just have to see how the change is going to go. A little bit of a heart monitor situation here for the Quantum Freaks fans. And let's see whether we're in a dip or a rise at this point in time, because BNK a little bit more stable as far as the draft this time, although still some worries for that bottom lane.
Yeah, a little bit more straightforward. It really comes down to how the bot lane can perform, but also, you know, the mid jungle, yes, these picks work well, but not necessarily something we see them picking up every day.
Exactly. Let's jump into the rift. Game number 2. All right, and normally, you know, I get affected by which sides of LoL Park I'm on as far as like who I'm assuming are the loudest. Quantum Freaks are like double the volume of BNK here today as far as the fandom is concerned. Everyone's sort of showing up to support them as they make their rise once again from their slump in the mid-season. Riverback coming through here as the ward goes down in the last second. Andal says, nah, no wards for you.
Yeah, bit of extra XP given over from that as well. and the reset comes in from Andal. So pretty nice just to take out the ward there. Often in these range versus melee matchups in the top lane, getting the brushes ward can make such a huge difference, because as a melee champion like the Cassandra, you can kind of just hide in the brush until you need to come out and farm.
Henna is pretty far forward here, as we can see, but also isn't top lane. So it looks like B&K are pretty happy with just going for standard lanes.
Yeah, there's kind of two sides to it, because they have a rough lane, and swapping would help mitigate that. But the other side is we've seen a lot of teams swap, sometimes when they don't need a swap, and it backfire quite heavily. So,
yeah.
You know, B&K Ferox, we praise them for their team fighting, we praise them for all being on the same page when they're engaging, but I don't think their macro game has ever been one of their big strengths. So, you know, perhaps not wanting to do something they're maybe not too practiced on.
Yep. And it is still, you know, a engage versus engage on the bottom side of the map. It's not like a Karma situation like it was yesterday. In the last game. And so we'll just have to see whether this can just go better, especially with a loss streak of 8 games in a row for the Nautilus. And some decent names on that list there as well. Lehen's being one of them is the important thing. He's only lost 2 games so far this season. Wait, 3 games. Take it back. Sometimes I forget that KT actually won that series.
It felt like a fever dream.
It really, really was. Didn't know, like, Wolf and I didn't know which dimension we were in during the time, so I thought maybe we would have gone back to a relatively normal dimension, but apparently we're still in the same one.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely one of the more crazy results we've had the past few years, honestly,
yes,
in the LCK. But yeah, I think Nautilus, ultimately, we've been seeing a lot more, even like the Rakan. Rakan has really benefited.
Oh, it actually hits the wall on that one, and a little bit of a regret situation there.
The Rakan has really benefited from like the Warmogs meta, because he ends up so much tankier and has that mobility, but a lot of the picks like Rel, Leona, Alistar, just so much tankier than Nautilus, and he often ends up struggling into them.
Full clear at 3 minutes here for Cuz, as he's already behind the enemy turret, putting down some Qs, trying to land the slow. We'll be able to get that from the plant, but the grasping roots not going to connect. Let's see whether they can actually make something happen here, as Duro lit on fire already. Leaper in a bit of trouble, but Duro's burning. He gets the shield, and that is going to be Comet to take him down. First blood goes to Cuz. Quantum Creeks once again off on the right foot.
Yeah, good start. It looked precarious there, but they get the plate, they get the kill. I will say, Henna surviving is pretty big. He gets a lot of farm on the back of that would have otherwise been denied. But you see what happens when you have these lanes like a Rakan, who doesn't have the pressure early. And also, we've seen a lot of them taking the heal. The Ignite reduces that healing massively.
Yeah.
And the barrier on Henna, I mean, they're not focusing Henna, so it's meaningless.
Maybe instead it should be Duro taking the barrier. Maybe that's the answer to everything. As Duro hasn't been all that durable so far, as Bulldog. He's trying to get out of the way of this one, does unbind the soul. He'll have to come back to that one, though, as Duro is going to land himself a Gleaming Quill. And Closer is going to push this wave in. Dudu just suffering at the hands of the very frustrating Mininar, as you would expect.
Interestingly, Closer's gone for fleet footwork instead of first strike, which is normally what we see. But we'll talk about the dive first. The initial route doesn't connect. And Duro, I mean, credit to him, I think he does everything he can here, apart from maybe he should have healed earlier. There was a point there, if he'd healed before the Ignite had come down, he would have gotten more health.
Yeah.
Maybe would have been the difference maker. But in terms of, you know, flashing away, trying to buy as much time as possible, I think his decisions were right. It's just that late heal after the Ignite kind of backfired. But yeah, good dive from Quantum Freaks. And yeah, so normally we've seen into, particularly like the Yone, Corki will take first strike and then just farm gold off him. But Closer opting to go for the fleet footwork, and so far lane matchup has been going pretty good. We saw after level 3, Bulldog started to have some trouble last game. Closer hasn't had that, but obviously he's not just getting free money.
Well, Clear is also just going to throw down a Gnar onto Dudu. Message received, I think, but we'll now go for a bit of a reset. And it does have a decent amount of CS here towards the top side of the map, but Dudu not looking like he is affected at all. As Cuz, once again, moving down towards this bottom side of the map, Duro does get that heal. So going to be feeling a little bit better. Plants are plenty. And Cuz just going to go back towards this dragon. Looks like Raptor has some contesting on his mind. As Cuz with plants down, and that back is not going to get stopped still. Closer doesn't have teleport this time around, and so therefore should be Dragon going over to the Kwangdong Freaks as Raptor is moving now into the fog of war. Pings go down, Bulldog saw him. We're a little bit concerned about whether he would be seen or not, but it looks like Raptor for Dragon going to be the trade once again.
Yeah, so looks like, I'm not sure Cuz will really move over to contest. Oh.
Yep, I said Raptor for Dragon. Duro is going to have to get out of here. There's the burn, and Andil's going to get another one. And that's just in the plain 2v2 as, oh, that is a long twisted advance as Raptor is going to be able to push Bulldog back now. Closer Valkyrieing forward. They want to try and find this one. Rockets flying down. Another one will connect as Bulldog gets himself back far enough. That's mission successful from Bulldog. He still had ult and flash to get out. And yes, he has to reset. Maybe loses a plate. But you stalled out these grubs from Raptor. And meanwhile, the bot lane of BNK FearX is bleeding. Yeah, this is not going well. And honestly, Duro and Henna having a really rough time so far today. Yes, it was a difficult matchup last time around, but I don't think we were quite seeing some of the pizzazz that Duro had when he made his way in. And maybe their last matchup against D+, even though it was close, maybe it did sort of really wear on them, right? Like, it's a series like that that can be extraordinarily close. You know, you can feel that playoffs were right there if they were able to actually take that one down. And then it can really wear on you moving towards the next series in the week because you don't get very much time off before you have to be on once again. And maybe for Henna and Duro, it was a little bit of a struggle getting back towards, you know, that form that BNK had started to build. I will say the solo lane is looking in good form so far in this game. Yeah. It's the expectation, but, you know, we saw Bulldog struggling in this matchup on the other side after that level 3 point in some of the trades. Closer not having that issue. Claire really putting the pressure on Dudu. Hasn't really been reflected in the farm, but you can see how low Dudu consistently is. Yeah, and not reflected in the farm seems to be a little bit of a theme here outside of mid lane because Henna is also very, very close to the CS as, okay, All Out is going to come on through here as Clear does have to flash to create that distance. Trading ulti for flash, though, I don't think is necessarily worth it as Clear will now hit that Mega Gnar. And we'll find a wallop here, actually pulled on over towards Dudu. The rock isn't going to land, though, or the house, depending on what you want to talk about, whether it's the actual ability or just this particular skin. Clear is going to be able to push this one further forward. But flash advantage now for Dudu in the 1v1. Yeah, which can definitely be punished later. We'll see Clear, though, now with the ult down, a bit more confident, does get a plate there. Yep. So still happy in terms of goals, but potential vulnerability if that flash is capitalized on. We can see Bulldog, as you said, down in farm in the mid lane. And Duro, not sure what happened to make him reset now, but you can see Henna is playing so far behind the tower without his support. Feels like the pressure is just getting more and more prevalent in the bot lane. Yeah, it's better. Cannon's coming through, and maybe they were just sensing that this could be a timing for Cuz to be down there towards the bottom lane once again. They hadn't seen him in quite some time. He's going to stretch that RCS margin. But I think that was a cannon minion as well, so Henna should be able to come through and actually clear out a lot of these. But it's not quite enough to actually even things out. As we can see, it's going to be stretched to a 10 CS CS advantage. As Closer moving over, will I believe find Cuz if he does throw any vision in the area. He pinged the plants you can see on the map, so yeah. I think spotted those and assumed Cuz had been in that area. We can see the Raptor now moving over to provide some cover. We'll check things out with the saplings and do a little bit of investigating. Yeah. So you can track down the enemy jungler. Get some bad news that the jungle's pretty empty at this point in time. Cuz just coming on over and tearing everything out. Still, the Raptors are going to spawn. Raptor will find the Raptors and take the Raptors. Yeah, you'd hope, you know, in his namesake. But yeah, so I think ultimately, you know, avoiding anything too horrific happening. If we saw another dive bot lane, I think it could just be game over. But this is where it gets really problematic because we've already seen bot lane suffering. Alipa now has the Bloodthirster, and this... Okay, a little bit of an aggressive move from Clear and Dudu on this top side. They're just playing Biffo. It's just a lot of hit. You know, yeah. It's a bit of wrestling. Nothing too crazy here. Unless Cuz, I mean, Cuz is spotted, so he's not going to be able to make anything happen. The main thing is, can Clear get the cannon? Oh, no. Zoned away from the cannon. Yeah. Beautiful timing from Cuz. Yeah. -1 cannon. That's a tilter more than anything, and that's what you really need. Oh, that's not a -1 cannon. That is a beautiful cannon take there, as Closer able to Valkyrie away from the dredge line that was coming in to try and punish it. Plant comes on through, and looks like Duro and Closer are going to be able to take that one down. Raptor flashing in immediately. The Stranglethorns goes down, though. Gets a nice double knock-up. The ulti comes in from Bulldog as well, and the rocket is going to miss. Oh, so close there for BNK. Still, they are still alive. Not going to get punished too hard.
So much committed there. Unfortunately, not able to find it. They are just going to move towards the grubs. I mean, because it's low enough, they should be able to secure these. It is a Chemtech Dragon second, though, so no disappointing soul now. And if Quantum Freaks can secure that one, it'd be pretty big for them.
Yeah, Bulldog coming on over to try and grab a plate, and will be able to do that successfully. Raptor getting 6 grubs could be pretty important here. They've got a Corki that does wipe out turrets pretty quickly. Not to mention Nah, if left in a side lane with a Trinity Force, especially able to get work done there too.
If you're able to get those 6 grubs and make some use of them before the plates are gone, that's really where you can benefit. So I think that's what Quantum Freaks are hoping for. Clears had pressure in the top lane. If you can get some more time on that tower with the Demolish as well, could be big. And they've just given up on bot lane. But now with the Bloodthirster, you know, Zeri, her ability to contest lane after 6 is very much based around her ult. If you're not ulting, I mean, even if you do, Leaper just walks up to you, autos you, and out heals all your damage. There's really very limited counterplay. So I think, even though this feels bad, sacrificing the first turret, I think it's a decision you have to make.
Well, Henna's moving over. Wants to try and make use of those grubs that they did manage to pick up. Extendo Beam going to allow him to do that as Raptor is considering a dive as they get rid of Vision as well. Dudu just going to have to vacate the area. First turret blood does go over to Quandong Freaks, and Dudu eats the CC. Will not be able to keep his turret alive. They keep this investment of people towards this top side, though. This could be a lot of damage onto an inner turret at the same time. And Quandong Freaks, they know that. They're going to rotate Cuz and Andil over here. Andil actually thinking about a little bit of a wraparound to try and go for a counter engage. It's still going to be a man advantage for BNK, but Raptor might be caught out of position. That's a hook that's going to connect onto him. Stranglethorns goes down, the knock-up avoided by the Twisted Advance and the Nature's Grasp. It comes out as well. A possible opportunity now for Henna, but the Grasping Roots is going to stop him in place. He has to skate his way out. Yeah,
the phase rush coming through, really helpful for Raptor, and also that locket rush, you know, that little bit of extra shielding really makes you feel so much more durable in those early fights. Here we see it's very instantaneous. They spot the Zyra in the right spot of the wall, immediately flash, and Closer, unfortunately, just to get this final rocket, would have taken down Cuz, would have made the play all worth it. A lot of summoners invested to make that one work.
And it would have been a bit like, oh, he doesn't quite have a shutdown just yet. I thought that maybe would have put one together, but that could have been even extra gold going over to BNK. A bit disappointing.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. Quantum Freaks now with a 1,000 gold lead, which you assume is mostly going to be in that bot lane in the jungle. And it is an Ocean Soul, so not the most impactful overall.
Yeah, we've had some pretty... It's kind of fizzed out, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The Soul situation. But that's okay. Just an honest game of League of Legends between two teams.
It's good for BNK FearX. Second time in a row where they give over 2 dragons and get a good weak soul for the other side.
Well, there's an all-out once again as Clear is looking for that Mega. Now he finds it. The wallop connects onto the all-outed Kazante. And now Andil looking to come up and try and punish. Flash still available. Clear not going to be able to use it. Throws the house at Dudu. Max range on the wallop, but he's still just dead because there's another Nautilus. And he is just going to go down. Nicely played here by the Quandong Freaks.
Yeah, Clear though, kind of clutching it there. Obviously did lose out the fight against Dudu, but denied the kill from him. I think that's the pivotal thing. It looked so close to it just being a bunch of gold for the Xante. Yep. And now Andil's on the warpath.
He is just walking with a purpose, man. And it looked like, you know, Henna just didn't really know. He's like, why is he so confident? I guess I should probably respect it. Skates over the wall, gets out of the way. Now looking to try and put some farm together. Does have a static shiv this time, so clearing waves going to be a lot quicker here for the Zeri. We know that Henna, very practiced on this champion. See whether he can utilize this extra mobility that he will have on this champ to try and be a little bit more relevant in this game. I think a very different story to how late game team fights are going to go now that a Zeri is being piloted instead of that Xayah. Which is something that you'd expect that we would say because we were pretty critical of the Xayah last time around. As Quandong Freaks now looking for a bit of an engage, and that's a max range hook to come out from Andil, but Clear not too worried about it. They kind of like the fact that they started this fight, and there is another option here as Leaper going to get Extendo Beam. Stranglethorns now on cooldown as Bulldog in this bottom lane was split pushing Andil a little bit too far.
And ultimately, BNK FearX not only get a kill there on the Nautilus, but also rewarded with the Herald as well. So they can be pretty happy with that one. They've already taken down the top tier 1. I think mid tier 1 is usually the port of call when you have a Herald. It could be a nice influx of gold to close this gap. A minute until that next dragon. Obviously, Ocean Soul not the most impactful, but still one you want to deny where possible.
Yeah, Raptor on vision here, because it looks like he's going to be able to grab this Rift Scuttler pretty comfortably. And 1,000 gold the lead for Quandong Freaks. not feeling as important as it was in the last game where Kwangdong were making play after play. This is a good hook from Andal, but
yeah, they
bridge
don't
too far.
really have the follow-up because it already split off. You don't have the ult from Nautilus. You're also down in numbers, so you wouldn't really want him to take the fight anyway. Just a little bit over-ambitious with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andal's had a pretty solid Nautilus game so far. Just one little flub.
Yep, and that's first kill for Closer as well. So this Corki getting on track, does have the Trinity Force now completed. Looking for that mirror mana for that big spike that we were talking about in the last game and have been talking about all season long.
I mean, both solo lanes, BNK Fearx doing great, but the goal difference between 80 carries right now,
that's
massive.
Insane. And I think that's mainly just plates. Of course, the couple of assists coming on in there, but it was Andal that was able to pick up one of the kills, Cuz grabbing that first blood. Still doesn't matter. That gold lead is gigantic.
It was the plates, and it was also that solo tower bought the first tower as well that really paid off. Now the tower, about low enough. Leaper's recall gets cancelled. He's a little bit more low on mana, but there's a honey fruit. But that Herald should just kill that mid lane tier 1. Pretty big for BNK Fearx to take that one. Oh, it's super close though. I think one burst fire and you're good.
Yeah, and it goes over, presses Q. Going to be able to grab that one. That is some local gold for the Zeri. At the same time, we can have a look back at that gold advantage, trickling towards about 1.2k or something like that. So certainly doing a bit of triage there as Clear looking for a flank angle. That Narbar in a gorgeous position as Bulldog, same idea for him. And Clear now just going to be pushed out of the area. Raptor was considering some sort of movement as well as Closer pushing out the mid lane. And this Drake being started up by Kwangdong Freaks. Rest of the map not necessarily in the right position for them though, as Clear is on vision. Bulldog gets rid of him. And now the Nature's Grasp comes in. Andal in a little bit of trouble. The Flash Twisted Advance is going to connect. Bullet Time doing a lot of work because it's just going to be destroyed. There goes Andal as well. And Raptor, he's done his job. Gorgeously played. Still going to go down, but it doesn't seem to matter as Leaper in the alcove just trying to be avoided by the rest of BNK. Closer almost goes down as Dudu looks for him. That flash was so sexy from Closer. And now Clear just trying to get rid of this because Sante, he cannot close the gap. It's the first time we've seen it, and Bulldog's even baited in. The Hyper Proc will get it, and Clear, cool guys, don't look at explosions. It's a double kill, and they wipe them off the map.
There's the beautiful team fighting from BNK Fearx who were looking for, able to clutch it out. And it was so many individual moments that ended up being so impactful because you see him spotting Henna and Raptor on the side, pops a bit of a burst down onto him, and then this is a combo between the Zyra and the MF. You see that Henna just survives, able to finish off Andal. And I think Closer plays this so well. Leaper obviously gets away no HP, but Closer pre-firing the Phosphorus Bomb as he comes back to chunk him out, takes out Leaper, and then this flash at a clutch moment.
Oh
and
my god, the flash.
Think how close this ended up being, Judo nearly taking them down. If Closer had died any earlier than this, they might have just lost.
Yeah.
But him surviving makes a big difference. Bulldog tries to commit for the kill, gets chased down by Clear. I think also Juro did a fantastic job of just being there, getting the CC down, getting the healing, the shielding.
I think, like, honestly, like, the battle dancing around, the landing of the Gleaming Quills to get that little bit of extra health back for Closer.
It made the difference.
Yeah, absolutely clutch. And that means the BNK are able to grab themselves this third dragon, deny soul point from Kwangdong Freaks. And this is where things have deviated from what we saw in game number 1. This is the BNK that we know and love, the one that just puts together team fights that just work out, as Dudu is just going to walk past him. And he'll never know that he was one step away from catching Captain Jack Sparrow.
It's funny, he walked back and it's like, wait, did I? Was that?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, there was something tingling. There was something
No.
tingling. You know, he could feel the pixels.
And then he walks, he said, no, I must have imagined it.
Yeah. Does that
crazy.
brush look a little bit more polygony than the last one? I don't know.
Hard to tell. Oh, it's because it's the ocean map, so all the brushes look a bit different.
Yeah, they
Oh, no,
do.
it's the little flowers in the bushes.
Yeah,
That
that's
must
what it
have
was.
been it.
And, you know, there's a little bit of a flowery vibe to Rakan just in general, so you can understand why you might just miss it. As Kuz moving back into his jungle, he's going to continue clearing things out. Ahead by about 30 CS is feeling pretty good, but 2 items are now done for Raptor.
If you look at your skin, it's the same color as the flowers in the brush.
Oh,
You know,
it's
maybe
actually
intentional?
camouflage.
Yeah.
There we go. Intentional skin choice based on the potential soul for this game. Gorgeously done by Duro.
Very effective, you know. He's
Maybe
not-
Riot Media is going to vote for him for POG purely because of that. Like, maybe that's an example of the things we just don't know.
Yeah, we just don't. We're getting a glimpse into the genius behind Right Media.
I
and,
know.
You know, I don't think we can compete.
And that's why you should never judge things you don't understand, because maybe you're just the idiot. You know? And that's why, actually no, we judge all the time. But still, maybe we should think twice before we do it. As now Henna has found Leaper. Bullet time goes down. He gets himself a big old shield, and despite the Stranglethorns, he's still going to be able to grab the kill. Now both AD carries are dead. The Nature's Grasp, it flies forward. Andal's trying to get out of there, but Dudu's trying to get in there. And I don't think that was the right idea. Clear getting towards his Meganar, and I don't think that this fight is going to last any longer. A 2-for-1 trade, and Henna is angry after game 1.
See how much more confident he's looking on this Zeri, going for the aggressive play, takes out Leaper, and the power with the ultimate from Zeri, able to sort of zip away from Leaper's ult. Does go down, but they get another kill in return as well, and that's the thing, when you have the Knob providing all this DPS, and the Corki is that backup AD carry, and it's just confident to trade his life there. I think the big difference as well, he had not only the barrier, but the shield bow.
Yeah.
So much extra durability in this fight, and you can see Leaper just, you know, didn't expect to get dove on by a Zeri in this situation.
Yeah, the point-blank ultimate as well, relatively easy to move out of the way of. Dudu does dispatch him quite comfortably, but then he just goes too far forward. The all-out is an all-out of here.
Yeah, it's one of these things where if he didn't go that aggressive, Andal probably dies, so
나 미포랑 1대 할게.
it's
미포랑
been
1대
a trade.
할게.
And the big thing, he gets the
Yep.
Endo Beam.
미포랑 1대, 미포랑 1대.
Like, we're going to go kill it.
미포 잡았어, 미포 잡았어.
Yep. He's like, undead, but it's okay, win the fight.
It's about sending the
잘
message.
나누고, 잘 나누고.
Nicely done there by Henna, keeping his head on his shoulders despite a difficult game number 1. 3-0-3 now is the result for Closer, as we can see. Moving towards Rapid Fire Cannon, very close to 3 items completed.
Also, so much farm in this game. You know, Leaper's pretty close at 246, but I feel like so many times we panned over to Closer, just clearing waves in the top lane. You can see it from the experience as well.
That's
Level
a full level,
now.
right? Yeah. Ooh, that is a scary, scary Corki. And this is the other side of the matchup from game 1.
Yeah, and it's been going really well for Closer in this one. And as well, when you have the Triforce, the extra levels, the extra base AD makes pretty sizable difference.
Yeah. Duna now looking for Henna once again. A little bit of a tussle, but Henna does have a dash. Gets himself out of the way. As the Corgi making his way up the bottom lane. Bulldog trying to do the same thing here, splitting on the top side, but the extra pressure here from B&K starting to wear down onto the Kwangdong Freaks. You saw them start off the Baron earlier on. That was sort of what predicated the catch there from Henna. See whether they do go back and try and accelerate this game anymore. We've got 45 seconds before the Dragon, though. That might be the next time we get a 5v5.
You see, B&K Ferrex toying with the idea of starting up this Baron. You know, Maokai peeling off Baron with the ult, definitely very powerful. He can also sustain quite well with his passive off it.
Yep, teleport in from Closer. They know that there could be a potential fight here, but Bulldog doesn't have his teleport. He's in the bottom lane, and he's not going to be available for this team. But this Baron is just gone. Nature's Grasp will say, no, you are not getting in here. And Dudu is once again overextended. He's going to try and get out, able to mitigate the CC. But now there's no frontline available for a potential team fight to come in. Hook is going to connect onto Henna. It's the perfect target. The ulti from Bulldog as he is going to rebind the soul. They take down 2 of the Barons, and Andal is even able to walk it off. How the heck did that happen?
Beautiful hook from Andal, but a critical error from Henna there. Just walks through the brush, not expecting the engage. And after getting the Baron, getting away scot-free, it backfires. 2 kills picked up by Kwangdong Freaks, and they will get that 3rd Dragon as well.
That is really going to impact the Rebel Baron power play as well. You can see already at about 800.
It's like in the heist films when they pull off the heist successfully and then someone betrays them inside the squad, you know, and it all backfires. And now Kwangdong Freaks, you know, looked really dire, them losing this Baron here. But this didn't need to happen. I think B&K Ferrex could have just backed away on this one, so a bit of a mistake for Andal with the killer sense. You can see the ult here from Leaper really disengages the fight, not able to follow up into that. But here, they don't have vision in this brush, and Henna's just walking through freely.
Yeah.
You know, so disrespectful. It is a great follow-up from Bulldog onto Andal's initial hook there.
And I think they just kind of thought that they were fine, and they were absolutely not. Well, going to connect here on the top side as Clear throws his ultimate in the wrong direction. But of course, Dudu able to dash his way out of it. Looked a little bit silly there, coming straight out of the replay as Nature's Grasp coming down once again. Leaper in trouble. The flash forward, the grand entrance, and Leaper should just be dead here. The burst fire does come on down. We'll see whether Bulldog can actually equalize the trade, but Henna is going to be able to flash away now. Dudu going all out once again, but Clear is just going to hop on over the top and picks up the kill. BNK back on track once again.
Even with that hiccup, they still know what the MO is. They managed to find an angle. Leaper with the cleanse, thinking he's safe in the Maokai, but just wasn't enough to stop Juro coming in. And now BNK Ferex pick up some more kills. They have the Baron in hand on a couple of their members, and they're going to keep pushing in.
Yeah, Closer going to be able to take down an inner turret on the top side while the rest of the team are able to get rid of the mid lane. This should be inhibitor turret at least taking a beating, as Bulldog looking to try and defend, does a decent job. Remember, this is 6 grubs, so these turrets just fall like they're made of paper. And Henna even able to eviscerate this wave as well. And what we thought might not be that much of a Red Bull Baron power play is just triaged pretty nicely here to close to 5,000.
Yeah, they don't want to overstep here. There's only 30 seconds left on it, and they're kind of cautious about being engaged on, so they will back away without getting that tier 2 bot. You can see here Andal stepping up, trying to, defy Juro a little bit here, but the team really is in a position of pressure, and Leaper ends up caught up here. Kind of isolated, doesn't have flash, thinks, okay, I got cleanse, doesn't even get hit by the Maokai ult, but this flash combo coming in from Juro just ensures his death.
Yeah. I think Leaper knew that he was in the wrong position there as well. With the way that he was moving, he's like, oh no, 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 and then he's dead.
Yeah, one of those things where you see it a little bit too late. And we do see Henna get the flash burn by Bulldog there, though, so, is potentially something they can look to punish. They obviously did take him out earlier with that Nautilus hook. See if they find an angle like that again. But there's not any objectives on the map for another few minutes now. But the team's posturing, and I think for the side of Quantum Freaks, that mid-tier 1 still being up, definitely a sore point for them.
Yep, they are going to try and mitigate that problem right now as Bulldog dashing forward, but this minion wave is going to be wiped out.
It's crazy because there's obviously a pretty big goal lead, but it's just all mid and top.
Yeah, my God, Closer is so big.
He's so big. He's almost got IE. He's almost got 4 items. He has more components of IE than Bulldog does. He's finished his IE.
Yeah,
Bulldog's just got a BF sword, and it's his 3rd item versus Closer having his 4th. So this Corki's monstrously strong.
It's like he just has a free rapid fire cannon, and then is ahead as far as the race to IE is concerned. Like, that is just nutty. And we know what he's capable of doing on champions like this as well. It means that Henna, much less pressure on him with the double 80 carry composition. BNK looking so much better here in this game. Looks like shoring up the composition really has done wonders here.
Shoring up the composition by not having Xayah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and also picking away all of the champions you lost to in game number 1 on the top side of the map. Worked very well, as now Nature's Grasp is going to fly on forward. Clear throwing houses around. There's the flash. No, the ulti from Bulldog does nothing. They take down the turret, and now they're looking to just say goodnight to game number 2. And this Saturday showdown might be going the distance. The ulti comes in from Henna. Their health bars aren't exactly the greatest, but look at Dudu. He is not really a full tank in this game, unfortunately, not when Closer has anything to say about it. They'll take down the inhibitor on the bottom side of the map, and maybe they can just push further forward for even more. Andal trying to hook his way in. The knock-up not going to connect there onto Dudu, as Bulldog going to have to go back to the Unbound Soul. And I think maybe they'll just back away with what they have. BNK now with an 8,000 gold lead, looking to go for that final push after they've gotten all these health bars back up again.
Yeah, trying to stop the recalls a bit here, because it's only 35 seconds till Dragon and Baron would be sold for Quantum Freaks, so you can see them pinging the Dragon, thinking this is what we'll go for. There's actually a ward there. Not sure if we'll see a TP to try and punish, but pretty big play for BNK Ferex, but not quite enough for them to close out the game. Clay gets a massive ult here on all these members. It's a nice buffer, though, from Bulldog, so he doesn't end up actually going down. But Leaper, there's just nothing he can do. Ult at the end, gets a few waves off, which does lower the health of everyone BNK Ferex, but it's not enough.
Yep. And while Clear was diving, they had to deal with the turret there as well, so the follow-up wasn't immediate. Does mean that they do lose the Gnar. Maybe that is part of the reasoning here, but Quantum Freaks not fast enough on this take of the Baron as Duro gets in there. Yeah, the Make It Rain does come down. That is going to deny, but let's see whether Quantum Freaks can keep themselves in this game. Whether they can pick up a soul as Nature's Grasp is looking to try and say no. The Stranglethorns comes down though as Raptor avoids the knockup once again. That is going to be the soul picked up, and the jungler is now dead, but Andal is going to go down as well. Dudu is taken from the fight as Henna, the ultimate's going to come through, but the knockup is immediate. The bullet time comes down and the flash is going to be used just to get out of the way. Leaper is dead and Cuz, the last man standing. And yes, you may have picked up a soul, but it's going to be traded for your Nexus.
It's a valiant effort from Quantum Freaks, but it's just not enough. The goal deficit too big. Closer, way too strong. And it looks like we'll be getting the 3 gamers. Both teams not willing to give up on their playoff dreams now.
Exactly, and it's exactly what we wanted to see out of this Saturday showdown as well. 3 games, these 2 teams so tightly matched. And after what was a bit of a fumble in the draft, B&K just like, we can fix that. They sorted out, no side selection change required. And they will be able to bring us to a game number 3. This is where things get interesting. If we do have teams switching sides now.
Yep, obviously Quantum Freaks losing that one feels a bit rough, but they get a chance to adjust. We saw B&K make some great adjustments. Yep. Quantum Freaks now get side selection. They can obviously go over towards the blue side if they please. Things like the Maokai, 100% win rate so far. Corki as well, the Na as well. So potentially the opportunity to prioritize some of these picks. We'll see what the adjustments come in, but both these teams doing everything it feels like in these games to keep their hopes alive. Both of them just challenging constantly in the fights. Have been so good to watch.
Yeah, just explosive. And B&K, I think they can be trusted for that. I think Quantum Freaks really meeting them on their level for that one as well. I think this time around, Andal was a little bit punished, and I think the Nautilus is once again proving to be a little bit of a problem point for a lot of our teams. Yeah. I don't know whether it's like a symptom, like if it's part of the problem or just happens to happen every time, because we know that Nautilus does have its value. I think it hasn't been working.
Part of the problem is it gets mangled by a lot of the picks in the meta in the team fights, you know, like playing into Maokai really hard, but also, you know, you ult the Zeri, great, there's still a Corki. You know, with these double AD carries, there's more threats to deal with. You can't just ult a Zeri and be done with it.
Yeah, and you can see Ryu still with a lot of things to say to B&K. It's time for us to go to a short break. When we get back, the Space is going to break it down, and we'll have game number 3. We'll see you there.
야 이번에 천천히 나가보자 이거. W 8초.
나 그래 먼저 끌리면 안 되거든. 나 공 쓰면서 봐볼게.
오케이 요리
나
봤다면
그래 끌릴 때 공 쓸게.
아 가보자.
야 너 앞라인.
나 선택.
가게 상태 봐봐. 나 가게 해봐.
선택 앞에 보자.
나잘 볼만해 이거. 야 쭉 가자.
봐봐. 야 요네 앞으로 박았다. 다이라 노플. 요네 봐.
네. 나이스.
다이라 노플이야. 다이라 노플.
미포 보자. 프리서.
다이라 노플.
끝까지 가자.
나 집텔.
미드 탈타 미드 탈. 현민아.
아까 여기 봐.
여기 방어.
끝내.
어우 나이스.
오 마이 갓.
어우 이 맛이지.
아 이거지.
Be very strong. It's 50-50 in this series though, as the Nidalee once again going to be banned away. Blue side a little bit more flexibility with these bans as Renekton and Vi taken off the board. Something is going to slip through.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is now B&K FearX kind of need to ban Rumble and Trist.
And Renekton? And Maokai?
Yeah, the Maokai first pick likely going to be one to come through for Quantum Freaks. Unless they just go, you know what, we'll leave Rumble open, which is a massive risk. Kennen banned as well away from Clear. I think Quantum Freaks really want to cement the fact you have to ban Rumble, but you have to give something up if you do.
The Aurora, the Maokai, there are lots of things that are going to be up and available. I think the Maokai ban makes some sense within this series, that will open the Aurora to go into the hands of either Bulldog or Dudu. We know that Bulldog has already played it, looked very good on the champion, but Dudu is thinking that maybe Rumble, just that little bit too powerful right now, especially with Kennen banned away. But instead, it's just Aurora. And I think that this is the team that's been able to win on this champion. She's been played 3 times, and it was Bulldog that was able to come away with the victory. Clear is now able to head towards the Rumble himself.
I think Rumble Corki, we've seen in Bulldog's matchup against the Corki when he played Aurora, the laning phase was rough, even if he obviously had massive value in the team fight, so perhaps they just lock those in immediately. Quantum Freaks, be interesting to see what they bring out here for where they're gonna, if they're gonna cement where the Aurora is going. They could keep it open as a flex and pick like, you know, they could pick like the Sejuani in the jungle. They could also pick the Ezreal as kind of a denial. Looks like they're going to try and secure top, and they are going to put that Aurora into the mid lane. And we have seen this matchup be heavily Rumble favored in the laning phase, but we've seen the K'Sante come back hard in the team fights.
Yeah, we've actually seen a lot of just weathering of the storm from the K'Sante actually work, because a lot of the times K'Sante just kind of melted, wasn't actually able to do anything, and then the game was over. That was sort of what was happening prior, as Cuz considering on jumping on the Lilia hype train that we've seen sort of building up in speed here in the LCK, but instead, Ezreal priority pick here for the Quandong Freaks. Leaper now on screen, as you can see.
Yeah, I think this is massive as a denial, because we've talked about how Ezreal is fantastic into Aurora. Ezreal Corki, such a strong mid-AD duo to have, so denying that pretty massive away from them. And also, you know, if they did lock in the Lilia, you'd have AP mid, AP jungle, and a K'Sante in the top lane. Probably wouldn't feel too amazing about that. So I'll see them locking that Ezreal. And now it comes over to BNK FearX.
Oh, this would be kind of cool.
Now for Raptor here, not something we've typically seen. Obviously, into a pick like the Ezreal, you know, you want to maintain a healthy distance, and your damage is going to be mitigated there. But it's not a pick we've seen too much so far in summer, and not had too much success either.
The thing is, Audacious Charge and Wind Becomes Lightning kind of works in Ezreal. At least you get the follow-up slow, because if the Arcane shifts as you use that Audacious Charge in, it's pretty easy to land the Wind Becomes Lightning, so I guess follow-up does get a little bit more comfortable, but does have a lot of mitigation as well, and you can sort of spread out a lot of these fights. The Aurora goes in, tries to get a priority target. You can actually peel with the Crescent Guard. That's a possibility, as the Karma is going to be banned away from Andal. He had a great game 1 on that champion, and it was a very oppressive lane, as Lee Sin also taken from Cuz. I'm feeling a Viego game from Cuz. I don't know why. That's just in the back of my mind, as Ashe and Kalista both taken away from Henna. See where he is going to go in this draft. There are a few picks that feel pretty risky that are up and available right now. Misfortune is at the forefront of my mind right now.
You know, typically you'd expect an AD carry in this situation, but the priority on Rakan has been so high, I think they might just deny it, yeah.
Yeah, not a bad move here, and Duro on it once again, picking up a win in the last game. This will be his 3rd game in a row on the champion. See what they're going to actually pair alongside it, as now we'll get the information as to what Andal is going to be playing and what Cuz is going to be bringing into that jungle as well. Whole bunch of picks still up and available.
That's a question for me. I think especially the Lee Sin ban, they may be thinking that he has to lean on something that is AD. Looks like it could just be that Viego you were alluding to, but they won't lock it in yet. They'll go the Nautilus again. Despite the loss, and despite the fact there's a lot of AoE on the side of BNK FearX, with that Corki, with that Rumble to really mangle him. And you don't even know what the enemy AD carry is yet. But it does mean you have that single target lockdown, and when you have a champion like Viego who gets the resets on the back of that, it is very powerful, but I wasn't really convinced by the Nautilus in last game. I think it's on a 9-loss streak now.
Yeah.
So moving towards to break that.
Yeah, moving towards 10, as there is the Viego that we were talking about before. Cuz, of course, loves this champion, was super famous on it. When he was on KT, really having dominant performances, and we know that if Viego gets going, he can be a massive problem. And if you eliminate one target, which is exactly what Bulldog's task is going to be in this game, then things can become over very, very quickly. Henna obviously going to be locking away the Zeri if it isn't banned away, and it wasn't, and so he's locking it. Even into the Nautilus, he's not too worried, especially given the fact that it is now once again, an Ezreal Nautilus lane. This time around, not a misfortune, but still a similar idea. Not going to be something that they need to avoid quite as much as that Ezreal Karma.
I'm going to be honest, I feel like the Xin Zhao need to see what Raptor can do, and I'm not fully convinced by the pick, but the rest of their draft looks really solid. I think this is really going to be a test of what Bulldog can do in Aurora. We saw him in his previous game absolutely pop off, but hopefully people have learned a bit more about the champion since then. If it doesn't, I feel like the draft for Kwangdong Freaks is kind of lacking. You know, the Aurora has to carry so much weight, so much budget has been given to this pick. The Ezreal denial as well. That if, you know, Bulldog falls behind the lane and doesn't get those big ultimates, we could just see BNK FearX taking the series 2-1. Certainly that team fight once again looks devastating.
Yep, that's it. Gerora, which kind of roughly translates to Dog Aurora, which is like Bulldog playing Aurora, I guess, was that one. I'm doing my best here. We'll see whether it is once again going to be him able to pick up a victory. He's the only one that's been able to do it so far in the LCK. Let's jump into the Rift for Game 3 of our Saturday Showdown. All right, BNK fans actually raising their voices here, challenging the might of the volume of Kwangdong Freaks here at LoL Park. And you can understand why this is feeling like it is for a large portion of the marbles. In this one, making it to playoffs gets so much easier if you can take down your direct competitor. This is the last one of those series that we are going to see until BNK faces off against T1 that is going to be coming up next week. Oh man, this is, we are really getting into crunch time.
And I think, you know, going into the series, it was a +1 game score for Kwangdong Freaks, a -4 for BNK FearX. BNK FearX need this win so much more, especially as Kwangdong Freaks still have a series against DRX to play. Kwangdong Freaks have the easier schedule, they have the higher game score. BNK FearX cannot afford to lose this series. There is so much pressure on them right now. And if they do, they're going to have to get some upsets against some even harder opponents.
And it is, like, miracles can happen. We saw that. KT demonstrated that. Nongshim also jumping on board immediately afterwards. It was a day of upsets. We'll see what today is going to be, because regardless of the result, we're not calling it an upset. These two teams are so incredibly evenly matched. We knew that moving into this one. I think it could have been a coin flip as far as what the prediction was going to be there. As closer, witnessing that Electrocute's pretty broken. As a hook going to connect here from Andil. Still playing aggressively here, but Henna with the Burst Fire able to offer a decent amount of damage back, especially with that Mystic Shot missing there, as we could see. Fleet footwork here from Henna keeping him healthy there as well. And 9 losses in a row as we update our graph. That one was an easy one to build because we already had the template from the previous game.
Yeah, they just added the Andal game. You know, Quantum's got one, Andal's got one, but clearly a lot of faith in it being able to deal with Henna. But again, you know, a lot of AoE threats that are going to really make the Nautilus feel so squishy, and he doesn't have the mobility of the Rakan. And also, you know, you can target 180 carry, not the other. So we'll see what Andal can do with this pick. Obviously started off pretty well in the last game, but did not finish so hot.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out. We'll see where the early dives are going to be coming in once again. This time, a bit of a side switch and also a bit of a champion switch. Viego, not necessarily as known for his ability to really put pressure underneath his turrets and power from the jungle to the point where he can get there at like the 3-minute clip. Like, we're moving towards 3 minutes. He's still got 2 camps to go.
Yeah.
Zyra is ridiculous.
It is going to make the skirmishes explosive, though. You know, anyone misstepping, making a mistake, going down quickly, those resets start coming in, it becomes really hard to deal with. Particularly, you know, against a team with champions like Xin Zhao, Corki, and the Rakan. I feel like whenever you're possessing a champion with a dash in their kit, just makes it so much more possible to chain those resets together. And, you know, last time we saw this matchup, Bulldog got kind of blasted.
He did.
Maybe perhaps doing some practice, because he's faring a lot better right now.
Certainly faring better in the matchup. Going to see him try to put down some vision, perhaps, is what he was considering there, moving towards the jungle. As Kuz going to be able to take this one down very comfortably. Raptor getting that information. We'll be able to move towards the southern Rift Scuttler. As checking in on the priority pick here, and Clear in a little bit of trouble. He might have to flash pretty early on. Does have a decent health bar, but avoids the stun. And is now just going to try and cook Kuz on his way out.
Yeah, I like that he moved into the brush and flashed as late as possible so that Kuz couldn't follow it. But still, a big hit to lose that summoner, and especially into a Cassante. being flashless feels so dangerous when he does hit a level 6 point.
And it does mean that the K'Sante will be able to farm a lot more comfortably. We can see already Dudu doing a great job up here on the top side of the map, staying even with the Rumble. It's not something that we often see. Rumbles really do like to pulverize this matchup. Not happening this time around just yet. BNK still with a slight gold advantage as far as just farm is concerned. Henna getting a bit of a shove here as well, as a hook is going to go entirely wide on the bottom side. Grand entrance onto 2 as Duro mitigates the aggression that was coming on through here. But most of this minion wave is getting thinned out as Cuz moving down towards the bottom side as well. The battle dance comes in. They get the idea. This is happening. Cuz going to be able to get rid of whatever vision was sitting there as Bulldog throws all of his abilities away. Cuz are going to be able to win out on that trade, although not massively. Cuz is moving in once again. Bulldog will be able to connect that one. Electrocute damage comes on through as Cuz does walk away with only a turret shot to his name.
Cuz are getting the fleet footwork, movement speed there just to disengage from the fight. You see Cuz trying to find angles in all 3 lanes so far. You can see bot lane, even though Juro got like, the nice knock-up onto Lipa, they kind of knew that Cuz was going to be down bot side, so they didn't even follow up on it, and it didn't. Oh, but now he's...
Ooh, yeah, nice little hook there is going to connect. There's the knock-up onto Lipa, just try and mitigate some of that damage, but I think a lot of it had been done. And Closer once again, pressure is on. As Bulldog, with control of the wave for now, is behind by a little bit of farm, and you can see Closer just finding any angle he can to try and get in here onto Bulldog.
I'm just a bit concerned because we saw what Aurora could do from Bulldog when it was 100 farm down. It's not 100 farm down.
No, he definitely is not. As the back is coming on in, Ward goes down and is known here as Dudu. He wasn't shopping. He was actually looking to set up a fight as the equalizer goes through as well. Dudu could be in trouble. He dashes over the wall. And Clear not going to be following him this time around. Cuz gets information and they do stop Dudu's back. That should mean that Grubs will go over here. As Bulldog not very high on the mana department as this ward does come on in. And Duro and Henna, they're moving down this mid lane. Should be able to guarantee BNK these Grubs.
I love when bot lanes do this. They just walk down mid and then make the decision later on, and they don't lose much time. Henna's like, okay, I'm going towards bot lane. I'll be around if you need me, but I'm going to pick up the farm. But making sure they rotate in a way where if something did happen towards the Grubs, they would be there. Now that they're posturing aggressively, the jungler isn't here.
Yeah, Duro is going to be able to grand exit. Henna's coming down as well. Bulldog dashing away from this one. That's an aggressive Valkyrie forward here from Closer. As into the mist goes Cuz, but Bulldog sort of left for the Wolves. Leaper moving up. And Raptor trying to get in position. The hook goes wide. So does the W grand entrance onto one. It's a good arcane shift to get out from Leaper. But there's control of the Dragon area going over to BNK, despite the fact that they're the ones that managed to pick up the Grubs. The flash forward from Andal. He sees Raptor, and he puts down the Crescent Guard. Bulldog puts him into a circle, but he's the one that built it first. The knock-up's gorgeous. Cuz goes down, and the Dragon is going to get distracted. Andal falls. It's a disaster. The Kwandong Freaks are on the floor, and BNK are on the board.
And normally, you get Grubs, they get Dragon. That's how it goes. That's the trade. But BNK FearX are tired of trading. They want both, and they managed to take the fight around Dragon. It feels like Kwandong Freaks didn't expect it. The engage comes on Raptor. Definitely not the target I think they should have gone for, and it ends up backfiring massively.
And this is what happens when Xin Zhao sort of slips under the radar for a little while. You think, oh, we're at a dragon fight, let's kill the jungler. You just don't kill Xin Zhao that easily.
Yep, and the fact he's level 6 here, you know, Henna and Juro are so mobile, so they don't want to try and go for those targets. They know Raptor's flashless. They go for the engage, but the ult is immediate.
Yeah.
They try to follow up. Bulldog goes down, and then Cuz is trying to get that reset. That's the point of having a Nautilus Diego. You kill a target, you get a reset. He doesn't get it, and the fight falls apart from there.
And Henna, a big benefactor of this one as well. You saw, like, you can even see now that the CS is so far in favor of Leaper, 20 to his name above the Zeri. But 1-0-1 now for Henna. We're not certifying it, but we're getting closer and closer to signing that paper. As BNK, that's a huge win for them. And I think that, honestly, like, that's made me a believer in the Xin Zhao pick.
Yeah.
Based on that. And I think something like that probably had to happen. But now BNK look like geniuses, because it did.
I mean, the Xin Zhao is going well. That was the one concern I had with the composition, is how it's going to fit in. It's doing well. The rest of the team have some decent gold leads. They've denied that first dragon. And I just love the fact that, you know, Raptor was still cleaning up the grubs and the rest of the team were confident. They saw Leaper bot lane and like, look, we can force them off. You know, we're strong. We can actually do this. Often a lot of respect paid, you know, when there's a numbers advantage to the enemy team, but they saw an angle and they really punished it. And now Raptor already has the Sundered Sky. Oh, such a huge spike in these skirmishes as well, that healing based on missing HP. You know, you already saw him survive at a sliver of HP. He'll be a lot healthier than that going forwards. And now Quantum Freaks, they're wanting to start up this dragon, but Raptor is coming, and he is strong.
Full vision available here as well. He might not make it in time. This dragon is going down low, but Wind Becomes Lightning should be able to get him in here. There's the quickness, and he steals away the dragon. The Heartbreaker comes in, but I think it's Quantum Freaks that are going to be heartbroken at the end of this one. It's another kill for Hannah, and he'll absolutely nowhere to go, as at least Leaper will escape, but that is now a Zeri on a killing spree, and I think that somewhere Wolf has his glasses on, and he's signing the bit of paper that's in front of him.
I just don't understand the decision from Quantum Freaks. You know there's vision there, you just had a fight there. Raptor, I don't think you can get on top of this, yeah, it's a bunny, he's gonna hop away.
Yeah, but hops through to a different dimension a little bit there.
Yeah, learned a lot about that yesterday, but I just don't understand the decision, because you know they're gonna have some vision there left over for when their fight was. That's a given. You spot some of the vision when you put the control ward down. You know they're aware you're doing the dragon. There's nowhere else for Raptor to be. Grub's aren't up yet. And they still commit to the fight. I think it was very naive from Quantum Freaks, but being KPRX so quick to punish. And the fact that they secured the dragon in the 50-50 as well, massive here. You can see Jiro making use of Demolish.
Yeah, really nicely done.
Closer.
Another 6 grub stack here as well from B&K, but the biggest difference is the fact that they also get the dragon.
Yep.
And there's 3,000 gold in the lead. They took the 6 grubs in the last game, and they were behind the play, right? They had to make sacrifices in order to get that. True Shot Barrage not able to stop these backs.
And also both, I think it's so funny, both games so far, we saw Quantum Freaks get the first 2 dragons, and then it was a weaker soul. It's totally going to be like a Hextech soul.
Oh yeah, 100%. Guaranteed.
Yeah, use the blast cone. I love the engage from Juro. They focus down Cuz first, so that reset potential of Viego is just not there. And then they're just so strong. You know, Raptor threatens the Ezreal, obviously can't catch, and they give the kill over to Henna, but there's no way when he has that Sundered Sky completed already, you're ever going to be able to deal with Raptor. And now, on the back of that, Henna has 3 kills. You were talking about certification. Someone should call Wolf.
Yeah, no, we have him on the line, and I think that he could probably let us know that that one is worthy. As Quantum Freak's not going to give up. Good sidestep on the stun there from Duro, but he's just going to turn it into their own engage. Andal is going to come out from the brush, though, and they do manage to possess him. Grand Entrance is decent as Cuz trying to get his way out. Raptor says, nah, buddy, you aren't going anywhere. As Bulldog is dancing around this circle, Dudu is teleported in, and he is gigantic. He's going to pick up 2 of them, and now Henna is just dashing for the hills. Raptor is still pretty huge. Bulldog not going to get hit by that equalizer. In fact, no one is at all. And this is jungler versus top lane, and Raptor kind of likes those odds. Clear is going to come in. He flashes to barbecue Dudu, and he's been silenced. That's going to give him that power as True Shot Barrage wanting to take down a control ward.
Super scrappy fight. And I feel like Quantum Freaks, you know, they don't manage to get the shutdowns on the pivotal members. I think that's the big disappointment for them. Raptor 305, Henna 303. If they'd been able to kill them, I think it would have been a different story, but it just feels like it's not necessarily enough. Claire going to take advantage of this window, get a plate as well. We'll see in the fight, you know, Juro kind of a little bit isolated here. You can see he turns on a Cuz, but the follow-up isn't immediate. And the engaged turnaround comes in, and this is why this fight felt very different, because Cuz does get that reset. But unfortunately, he doesn't get a second target low to turn onto Raptor. They just can't deal with him, you know, and Bulldog does a lot of damage to close, and the TP from Dudu comes in sooner. And I think, you know, there were some mistakes here from KPRX, which is why this fight didn't go so smoothly, but it still ends up panning out pretty well. Claire, unfortunately, not the best equalizer, otherwise they would have killed Bulldog, but does make up for it by just deciding to melt Dudu.
Yeah, and he can also follow up on that. Like we saw it before, was able to grab that plate that you can see in front of you, and he's continuing down here on this bottom side. He's extended that CS advantage, and there is the Rook Earn completed for Dudu. He has made it to that first item, which is pretty good in the matchup, but it's not good in this one, and Raptor is just huge. So Dudu going to have to back away, and we're going to need to find some armor items before, you know, Closer and Raptor can really be dealt with, not to mention the Zeri situation, sitting on 303 now. Duru just able to walk this one off. This guy's Rakan has been phenomenal. 7 out of the 8 kills. He has helped provide for his team at the same time. And 8 out of 8 is for Raptor. So I think, you know, POG-wise, I think we know where things are going.
He's doing pretty good so far.
Yeah.
You know, a pick like Xin Zhao, I feel like you can be, with the Sunder Sky complete so early, like you're so hard to kill even without your ult.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. Sometimes you get the Xin Zhao who's behind, and his ult just makes it so he doesn't get 1 shot, he gets like 2 shot, right? They get inside and finish you off. But here, you know, the ult just feels like icing on the cake. They're going to struggle to ever take him down. You can see in that last fight, they didn't even look at him. They were focusing everyone else. They knew how hard it was to deal with it. Like, let's kill everyone else and hopefully Raptor, you know, forgets to finish us off.
Yeah, something like that.
He's now on the Herald, and they are moving to try and combat this. Remember, Clay doesn't have TP. Bulldogs is up soon, but he's getting burnt right now.
Yeah, he does skip across the Veil, but unfortunately not going to be able to save him from a bunch of Harpoon damage as Raptor doesn't find the Wind Becomes Lightning, but Andor doesn't find the hook. There's the re-engage with the Audacious Charge. Great knock-up does come on through as Dudu's trying to do his best, but it just does not work. And remember, he has full magic resist. The magic damage is here in the bottom lane.
And he just gets shredded. You know, he's even picked up Negatron Cloak as well. He's full MR, and he's not the one laning against the Rumble. I feel like this lane assignment ends up being a big flub for the side of Quantum Freaks. They don't have the Aurora there, and they kind of just sit there, watch them take the Herald, and then get engaged on. Quantum Freaks crumbling in this game 3.
They are falling apart before our very eyes as BNK. They are going to be able to take down this top lane outer turret. Some possession here of Shelly, who saves her health bar because it goes down just in the nick of time.
Quantum Freaks are going towards Dragon. They're just they're losing. So this might be, I mean, it's definitely 2 towers, but they might get a 3rd tower charge. On the back of this is pretty low. Maybe Dudu can stop it.
Yeah, Dudu should be able to deal with it
But
here.
still, and that gold's going not only to Raptor, but Closer as well in the Corki. Sure, you got an Ocean Dragon. It is a Hex, of course it is.
Oh, God, yeah.
Of course it is. But it's not 2 dragons for...
Cuz could be in a lot of trouble here. Heartbreaks. There is a circle put down by Bulldog, but who is trapped in where with who? As Closer comes on over and Bulldog absolutely nowhere to go. No options. They are able to split off because they want to kill Cuz as well. There's the flash forward. The grand entrance. Raptor looking for the Wind Becomes Lightning. He'll have to settle for Andal as a teleport is coming through. Dudu is going to turn up. But look, Raptor is able to just stand here and say, no, you can't engage onto me. I will kill you. And Henna is now in this fight. Dudu just has to try and get himself away. And some more cooldowns are there now. Decent Q3 going to come out from Dudu. But once again, Raptor is immortal. The Wind Becomes Lightning comes in. Leaper is just going to be a secondary effect to the battle that was happening.
This feels like the most lore-accurate Xin Zhao we've ever seen. He stands there and says, welcome to the arena. He's ready to take anyone on. 5-0-6. Now with a 9,000 gold lead, this was a must-win series for BNK FearX. This game 3, they've come alive in it. I mean, the setup, and I just think Quantum Freaks, you can't contest this. They go for the engage with Andal, it misses. They do manage to stop Duro from getting onto the back line, but it doesn't matter. They'll just hit the front line, and look at the damage coming out in return from Leaper. He's doing nowhere near enough right now.
Yeah, I think even a coursing River would be pretty scared of Raptor at this point in time. And look at this, they get to just spread their resources as well. Like Bulldog, he's going to be the target, but he's after this teleport from Closer, which is beautiful. Duro can split off and then meet up with Henna and Raptor, who are coming down to close this gap. And this proactive flash forward from Duro, which looked a bit silly because there wasn't really anyone there. Leaper gets a flash out of Henna on the top side, but Raptor is just so big it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's no answer. And you can see how these team fights are playing out. Quantum Freaks are trying to ignore the issue. They're like, we'll kill other people, get our Viego resets, deal with Raptor at the end of the fight. But he's doing so much work.
Raptor is dead, everyone. Knocked up. There's even an equalizer there that's going to be put down. Henna picks up his 5th kill of the game. A circle does come on in. Henna is just trying to stand his ground. He survives for so long because he's going to go down before he can reset. Bulldog is, he's running. He's trying to go across the Veil, but I think he's going to join Sirius Black here.
Well, I feel like the only positive side for Quantum Freaks is at least Baron isn't up yet.
At least the game isn't going to be going for much longer.
Well, that's definitely true. 18 minutes, it's a... You know, we talked about how B&K Fearx kept having these really close games where both teams fighting tooth and nail, the ball is completely even. We saw it in game 1, we saw it against D+. This is what happens if you can't match them pound for pound. You get blown out.
And Raptor is doing as much damage as a Rumble at this point in time on the Xin Zhao. This was beautifully done, setting up this catch. Really liked the camera work as well from Jonas Strong.
And you can see the value Bulldog gets here, the burst on a header. You can see, you know, they put a lot of weight into this Aurora pick, and if the game was an even state, it would be really valuable, but it's not. And they have no answer to just how fed some of the members are on B&K Fearx. And what's started to happen now is obviously Raptor was super fed, but the gold has become spread. That's why the gold lead is so big, but everyone is fed on the side of B&K Fearx. Everyone is super strong, so even if you do kill the Zeri, there's still so many members of the team who are just going to decimate you.
Yeah, we're seeing here as Dudu is going to come out of the Hex Gate.
I think
a
it's the only
dangerous one to take.
I think it's the only person who could have taken that Hex Gate and easily get killed.
Yeah, and everyone else is only allowed to if they are supervised by Dudu. And that is understandable. They're going to brute force their way towards this Baron pit because otherwise, B&K probably could have just taken it and won the game. This Baron is going to spawn. Duro sort of just walking at them. And Raptor has a flank angle. The equalizer in the choke point is gorgeous as Bulldog is trying to bounce around, but Henna is just going to kill him. The job is for Bulldog to murder the AD carry, but instead, Bulldog is just going to be wiped out. Only Dudu left standing, and I think B&K are done with this game.
With 6 grubs, Baron's up, but they don't care. They're just going to try and end the game now. Dudu, the only one alive, he's going to do his best to try and survive. There's no way against 5 you can save the game.
Nope, he's going to try and waste as much time as possible, but that is all that's going to be. As Andal has respawned, this Nexus turret is not long for the world, though. The grubs come down. Remember, there are 6 of those. The Void Mites really helping out here. Another minion wave comes in, and the Nexus is the next thing on the menu. Fearx, they're not wasting any time. They are going to take down Kwangdong Freaks and get one step closer towards the playoffs.
And this series does so much to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're not out of the woods yet. They still need to do more. Picking up game wins, not even just series wins, will make a difference, but this has kept the hope alive. And more than anything, I really hope B&K Fearx make the playoffs because their series have been so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And the growth of this team, they deserve to be in playoffs. If they're playing like this, absolutely. I feel like every member of the team has stepped up. And, you know, for me, a lot of people have talked about Juro, a lot of people have talked about Clear. They have been fantastic. But Raptor has really been so solid for this lineup. And once again, popping off in this game 3 and a massive win. Kwangdong Freaks.
And Prince had a fan sign saying, "I want revenge for 2022." We'll see whether he can get some of that, as that was a little bit of a dispatchment in the playoffs earlier on in that year. But still, I mean, B&K, there is so much promise to this team. We always knew that Closer was a great player, but didn't quite have the same tools around him. But you're seeing, like, Clear in his 2nd year of the LCK, coming on in. Duro, he arrived like last week, and he's already looking fantastic. And Raptor, you already mentioned, these are such young players with so much time ahead of them. This could be a team to watch out for moving further forward and also into these playoffs.
And it's so easy to be a fan of this roster because the way they play is so fun. The games are always exciting. It always delivers so heavily. For Kwangdong Freaks fans, it feels rough, but they're not out of playoffs. You know, like I said, they had a big game score advantage. They still have DRX to play, and there are 4 teams around that 7-8 win point. They are now the last team on 7 wins, the rest on 8. But there's still opportunity for them to make playoffs. There are a lot of spots available in that lower end, but obviously this loss, a bit of a hit towards their chances. And we see Raptor, you know, this was obviously that first fight where he survived in a sliver of HP. But he really made that advantage work, and I feel like, you know, it's just a sign of a great player when you get a little bit of gold, you get a little item advantage, and from then on out, the confidence he played with, he made the game about him. You know, we had a 5-0 Zeri at one point, and you'd be forgiven for not noticing because Xin Zhao just ran the rift.
He did. Like, and I think that was an unfortunate situation for the Kwangdong Freaks. I think without that early game moment, but the way B&K played around it, they never gave any avenue back in, and they continued just making every play they could possibly find around the map to make sure that this Xin Zhao was like that coursing river. You know, this guy was just a complete monster on the rift.
Absolutely, you know, and we definitely see teams able to take an advantage like this and run away with it and completely take control of the game. But usually they're called Genji.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that BNK Fearax are showing this level of play, because we know they can go toe-to-toe on the team fights, but the skirmishing also been so good in this one. And just the way in which they pushed the advantage so fast in this one. And I love the team fights, you know. Henna's kind of isolated in 1v2 and obviously strong enough to turn it around, but it feels like everyone's so capable of functioning independently and bringing it together in unison for the big moments.
And I feel like they're also so good at sacrificing one another just to make sure that they win the team fight. Because in that moment, if Bulldog had have just three-shot the Zeri, they wouldn't have cared because they killed 4 people over the other side. And yeah, Bulldog's going to live, but he can't kill everyone that's left over. They understand that that's still going to win them the fight with the game plan that they had. Orchestrating these team fights is just really, really beautiful to watch from this team. And they're going to, like, they're really trying to push up the pace here, understanding that they just have to focus down the Nexus, don't let any shenanigans happen. Oh, Duro, you can see, really, really psyched about that one. And look at these damage numbers. Raptor only 600 behind a Rumble.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And against Cuz, you know, I will say Cuz has been the shining light for Quantum Freaks, and he is a fantastic jungler in his own right. And going up against him was a big test for Raptor, especially looking towards playoffs. So to match up against a player like that and have such a dominant performance is great to see.
It was phenomenal. Incredible game by BNK. They're not into the playoffs yet, but this is such a big step forward for them, being able to take down their direct competitor. It is now time for us to throw it over to the space, though, to break down the series.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jisun for the POG interview translation, and we are here joined by Closer and Raptor on the side of BNK Fearax. BNK Fearax secured a victory and increased their playoffs chances. Let's hear from the POG winners. So you just defeated a rival team competing for the same playoff spot. How do you feel about the win today? Today was a very, very, very important match. I couldn't even get sleep yesterday. I am so relieved that we managed to get a win. What about you, Raptor? Yeah, for the playoffs, you know, today was a very important day for us, and I'm so happy and relieved that we won. Closer, the match was highly anticipated due to both teams' strong recent performance, and the head-to-head record was pretty tight. How were you able to secure a win today? I think, you know, our team started to play even better as we head into round 2. Exactly like you mentioned, this match marks your 5th win in the second round. Your performance has been on a steep upward trajectory, so what do you think that triggered this much of an improvement? Pretty much because of our, you know, hard work, and also our teamwork has become a lot more smoother. In the first 2 games, we saw Yone Quirky matchup in mid, and you get to play both sides of it. Tell us about the mid lane matchup. I think it's a 50-50 matchup, to be honest. You know, it depends on, you know, the players' confidence and their proficiency on the picks, so I'm pretty confident on both sides. And Quirky, in fact, won all 3 games today. Is Quirky currently the top mid lane champion? I think so, because Quirky right now, his laning phase is really strong, and also his late game value is also very strong, so he's pretty strong right now. And then in the most important 3rd game, you left Aurora open, and Raptor, you played Xin Zhao, who hadn't appeared in the current patch so far. Xin Zhao is always one of my, you know, strong picks. I'm always very confident, and I thought, you know, getting that AD champion in the jungle role will round out our comp really well. And that pick turned out to be the most important kind of factor in that game. So let's take a look at this replay. You actually survived after all of those engages. So I was like, if they tried to jump on top of me, I was gonna go in for a fight, but I was not expecting myself to walk away alive like that, but I guess I got a little lucky. I also think he got very lucky over there. And today we had Prince in the audience, and also Your ambassador, Sona, you, a streamer in Korea, also came to support you. And Prince also told me he thinks the chances of us winning will be 63%. So he actually doesn't sugarcoat usually. So I believed in him, and I think we were able to get a win just like he said. So I want to say thank you to Prince. And we also have a very interesting record of BNK for your X. You guys have never lost a single match in the Saturday Showdown matchup, and you guys are the only LCK team to make it happen. How do you guys always perform so well under so much pressure? Because Saturday Showdown is always, the important match, and we get to work even harder. And I guess our hard work and effort, pays off. Yeah, most of the Saturday Showdowns are very important, so we get to focus up and prepare harder. Please give it up for the BNK Phoenix players with their amazing victory today. So previous to today's series, your chances of making it into the playoffs are 48%, but now it has jumped up to 74%. Your next matches are up against Hana Life and T1. What are your resolutions as you aim 100% playoffs qualification? I want to say our team has been ramping up, so I hope we can stay strong and be confident up against the stronger teams as well. Indeed, our momentum is unstoppable right now, so I don't want us to get scared because we are going up against the stronger teams. I know that we're going to do a great job. And this will be the end of the interview from Raptor Closer on BNK4X, and back to the space. Thank you.